Hi guys, welcome. Just lower the volume a little bit. Let me make sure everything is working and that you guys can see everything. Let's just make sure so that we can get started. Today is going to be very awesome. I'm excited for many reasons. Oh, let's just make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, so let's see. Okay, yes. I'm live. Hi guys, welcome to another Power Hour. I have so much good news to share. The first thing is, thank you for your prayers, for your support, for your calls, for your concern for John Place. Thank God he is healing. He is on the mend up. He was live the other day on Facebook, which goes to show you that all of that love, all of that support, all of that togetherness played a huge part in helping him heal, because when he called me, I was in tears and I was just so grateful. And the first thing he said is, please tell everybody thank you. So for every single person who said a prayer for him, who joined our prayer Zoom, who called Michelle, who sent in cards for us to give him when he gets home, thank you. I know personally I can't wait to have him back, but it just goes to show you we have to take care of ourselves, and life is so precious. And it kind of helped motivate me for today's program. Now, I am very socially active. I feel like I know many of you, many of you feel like you know me. And I get sad when I see you guys wanting to give up on face painting, struggling with what you're going to do and going forward, because times are difficult, right? In one fair swoop, the entertainment industry just stopped. And instead of letting it get us down, which is understandable and normal, we need to just think of ways to be creative and use the gifts that we have. Because whether you acknowledge it or not, or you think about it or not, art is the best gift that you possess. I can tell you this because when face painting stopped, we're not doing events. And I had to pivot very quickly and think outside of the box and try new things. And the only way I was able to do that is because I have artistic skills to change directions, to design hand sanitizer, to design the masks and the shields. Marcella, pass me those two shields right there, the ones on the table. I have people in the studio. We're doing really good. We're doing really good today. Okay, so, something as simple as designing this and designing this. Most people without really good art skills or just a visual gift are not able to do that. But you guys are. So this Power Hour is literally all about giving you some ideas and motivation and inspiration so that we can plan not just for tomorrow and not just for 2020, but we can plan beyond. Because the truth is, none of us know what's going to happen. None of us know if it's going to get better, if there's going to be a second wave. I'll be honest with you, I'm the first person to say I thought by July 4th we would all be back to painting and back to normal. But this is not the case. So it really inspired me to produce this Power Hour, which you guys hopefully will stay tuned for. I know it's not easy to commit 2 hours of your day, but I promise you, if you listen, you will find some really amazing wisdom jewels. And like I said, inspiration. I'm going to run down the lineup for today, and you guys hopefully will stick around for everybody. But okay, so first, we're going to have the amazing, talented Cameron Ashley. You know her from FABAtv. Many of you have taken her classes. And right when everything started, she called me up and she said, Heather, I'm thinking of getting into the yard signs business. And I've seen that before because obviously I have kids, and it was just getting started back then. And she jumped into it at full force, and you're going to hear from her about it and how to start that business. And it's been able to get her through this tough time and actually give her a lot of motivation in going forward when business rebounds, because she can offer those services. So that's our first interview. The second interview is with another amazing FABAtv artist. Her name is Ashley Pickin, and she's going to talk to you guys. At first, I interviewed her truly just to talk about window painting as a second form of income or something that you could start offering. And our conversation kind of went in a different direction because she talked to us about websites and how she was able to literally overnight spend 2 days and be able to pick her business back up by just flipping a switch on her website. So that conversation and interview took a little bit of a detour, but it inspired me in many ways to help you guys. Then we are going to hear from my friend who, without any experience, started a t-shirt business. And I really wanted her to come on the program because she's not a painter. So for those of you that are struggling or you had kind of like an idea in the back of your head to make t-shirts or just an idea to make customized, personalized products, it's a really good interview because she's going to show you how, with very little knowledge, she invested some time during this pandemic and now she has a t-shirt business. So that interview got me extremely excited. And then after that, many of you are going to say, okay, gosh, there's more. And the truth is, there is more. It's 3 more things. This is like a busy day for me. Imagine I was editing all the content all weekend. And as many times I was like, damn it, I missed John because he could help me with the editing. I was more so excited because this is a lot of great information to share with you guys. So after that, you're going to hear from, I believe, who's after that? Is it Lisa? Oh, okay. So, in one of the interviews you're going to hear from a SCORE counselor, she talks about in their recent studies, 90% of people's influence in buying things comes from the internet, comes from Facebook, or comes from social media, from Facebook and Instagram, okay? That is huge. You cannot deny those numbers, which means if you want to start selling and scale your business and start off small and grow, you need to understand how to create attractive looking images for Facebook, for Etsy, for Instagram. And I have my best friend here, Lisa, of Zen Love Bliss. She's going to show you guys about taking pictures and fixing the lightings and using some of the things that you already have in your house to kind of create those beautiful images. And you're going to be blown away because I will tell you, even when I take pictures of my stuff, I struggle. So these tips that she's going to share with you are going to be monumental in helping you even with taking pictures of your face painting design. So you have to stick around for that. Then last, on the business side, I have a very special guest. And as a business owner for 15 years, I need help all the time. I need help finding out things. I need help training. I need help with my own decisions. And she is a SCORE counselor. And if you don't know about SCORE, you're going to learn about it. SCORE is a free resource. It's a complimentary resource for business owners. And right now, we are in a unique position because they want to help women. They want to help minorities. They want to help every entrepreneur. It's not just exclusive to women and minorities, but there's a little bit more opportunities right now for small business owners to be aware of grants and PPP money. So she is going to join us. Her name is Janine Banks, and she is an unlimited resource of wealth and knowledge. And I want you guys to meet her because if you need a SCORE counselor, she is available. And she can direct you to the right people if you have a SCORE local office in your area. So stay tuned for that. And then to finish it off, because most of us are not all just about the business, we want to paint too. We held a contest on the FABAtv forum. It was the love letter contest where I asked who wanted to participate to paint a physical card and mail it to like a paint pal. And we had like 30 entries. So the woman who inspired the contest, Elizabeth Gale of Sparkle Face Painting, is going to host a guided paint along. So what I want you guys to do is it's going to be around 2 o'clock, 2:30. Get your favorite split cakes, get a piece of cardboard or cardstock, and get your brushes and paint along. If you want to be featured behind me on the screen during the paint along, all you have to do is log into the Zoom information, which is on the FABAtv page, it's on the FABAtv forum, and turn on your camera. And then you can be projected behind us too, because we want to see you in action. We want to show you off. We want to see you putting your art to use. So with that being said, wow, that's a lot, right? Melissa Perez, Natalie, welcome. Emily, Callie, Mystical Rainbow, Casey. I know that it's a lot today. I know that it's a lot of information, but there's good news. You can always replay it because this will be up anyways, but the full duration will be up. But for FABAtv subscribers, all of these individual interviews and resources will be up on the Power Hour page, so you can just watch them as a subscriber. So just keep that in mind. If you have to come, go. I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to participate. I encourage you to think outside the box. This is a labor of love sponsored by FABAtv, right here. We produce the Power Hour free because, one, we want you guys to stay encouraged, stay motivated, and two, to kind of give you a preview about what FABAtv is. So when I created FABAtv almost 9 years ago, it was a place back then that I could share inspiration, motivation, and things have not changed. They've just adjusted a little bit, right? Like now, not just face painting and airbrushing and henna. Now I can bring you a lot of the things that are going to help us invest in our success and grow our business, because the end game should be not jumping out of this industry to start a new one. It should be using every gift that you have at your disposal to grow. Because one thing I've learned is that with hard work, the best part about working hard is you get to keep all those results, whether it's a fitness goal, whether it's building an Etsy shop, whether it's learning every single stroke under the sun and painting like a Nick Wolf or a Milena. All that hard work, the person who gets to benefit is you. So don't shortchange yourself. Just get started. Join us. Thank you for being here. That's step one. For those of you, hi Gigi, hi everybody. For those of you that are not part of the FABAtv family, I don't know why not. We have amazing specials going on now. You can join for $99, which is a very small amount to be able to enjoy over 500 classes. So I encourage you guys to commit, to say to yourself, I am going to paint, I am going to learn, I'm going to practice airbrushing, I'm going to practice henna, because our industry is coming back. It's just right now a little bit difficult. So hopefully after today, you'll figure out how to add some balance, add some fun, different variations to your business, and not give up on art, because art is literally the tool that makes the world go around. It makes the world more colorful. It inspires your kids. It inspires everything from glasses. Look at my cool glasses, right? How cool. They're like magnet frames so that you can be fabulous every day of the week. Or if you want to be like, more serious, right, with just clear frames, or these are my sparkle pink ones. So with all that being said, I encourage you again, please, oh, Casey, I'm speaking to your soul. I'm waiting on like a reading from you. I feel like you should do a reading on me. I'm open to that too. So welcome everybody. Welcome. We are going to kick off the Power Hour with Cameron's interview. I encourage you guys. It is a great new, exciting, booming business, especially if you live in an area where there's yards. I really encourage you guys to think about it, because I can tell you from seeing it in my own neighborhood and watching my nieces wake up to it and my own kids, this isn't a business that's not going away. It's just going to get more creative the more people that join it. So I hope you guys enjoy. I want you guys to hear from Cameron right now. So take it away. Everybody, welcome. I have a special guest with me today. I am really excited to have her, not only because she's talented, she's amazing, but I get to call her my sister friend. Many of you know her, Cameron Ashley.
Hi.
She's fabulous on FABAtv, and fabulous in her own right. Is just even better that I got a chance to get so close with her and learn all the other exceptional things you do. And today I asked you to be on because several months ago, I don't even know what month it is anymore, what ended up happening was most of what we know as our businesses completely came to a halt. And, it's not just about face painters or balloon artists or entertainers. It's really about an industry that is 100% dependent on events not being able to have them. So, I'm very active online and on the forums, and a lot of people are struggling, very stressed, and miss what they love. But I come from a place where I feel like we're the luckiest people on the planet, because as artists, we can do anything, right? Like we can pivot, and we can create, and we can kind of scratch our way out of a really rough situation. So you took the road of starting a yard card business. And I remember when you first called me about it, and I was so excited for you. And now following you on Facebook, I'm like, that girl is incredible. You are killing it. So let them know what your business is. Let them know what you do so that they can get as excited as I am.
Okay, so we are Tally Yard Cards. I live in Tallahassee, so Tally is short for Tallahassee. I was scrolling through Facebook and I was feeling very much like all of you. I had picked up a brush maybe once, but not knowing when I was going to be able to paint again or do parties. I really wanted something to be able to offer my clients for birthdays, and I saw a post on Facebook from a friend in a different state, and they had a yard card in their yard for the kid. I thought, that's really cool. Immediately my brain kind of peaked up and I thought, okay, let's go online. This is kind of how I work. And let me find out everything I can about what it is, how it operates. And within, I would say 3 days, it was right around stimulus check time. I thought, okay, I need to do this. Like, I need to do this for my family, my 2 girls. We have to put food on the table. So I took my check and I started my own yard card company with two friends. So there's 3 of us doing it because it's a very physical and demanding job too. So I just thought this could be a really cool way to pivot what I'm doing. And I know some balloon artists were offering it also with their balloon art, which I think is awesome. If you already do yard displays, yard cards are a wonderful addition to your balloon art too. Absolutely. So that's how it came about.
And show us what yard cards are, because I said, please show them. Like, obviously, I'm going to put up some of them. I have all the pictures from your page, so I'm definitely going to show those off. But show them, like, hold one up, because you have some.
Okay, yeah. So first of all, let's think events, right? So I've already come to find out that May is definitely the busiest month because graduations, birthdays, summer is really busy too, which is really nice because I know for me, even face painting in Florida, I'm dead in the summer. A lot of other states are not, but I've always been dead in the summer. So my thought was this could be a really great addition to my face painting company as well to get me through the summer. So let me show you. So happy birthday, congrats, grad, baby announcements. This is a big one for baby announcements. And then I'll talk about logistics in a minute, but let me show you a few of the actual physical cards. So this really fun one behind me, hold on. Here's a fun photo frame yard card.
Oh my God, I love it.
And I'm gonna talk about sizes, how to stake things. I mean, you can see I'm 5'8", and this thing is like staked almost 5 feet tall, right? Yes. So I love to make a statement, right? We love to make a statement with face painting. I wanna make a statement in your yard now. So here's one, it has my website on the bottom. I got all yard cards printed on the bottom. And I also like to be creative with it and not just order packages that I see, but find, and Heather and I were talking about this, I like to find files on Etsy or let's say somebody wanted gaming, okay? Gaming is big for the boys. So you're gonna wanna make a list of what's popular for boys, what's popular for girls. Well, guess what? We already kind of know that, right?
That's true.
So gaming, flowers for girls, sparkles, that kind of stuff. You can find the files and find a local printer, actually print them for you. And we can talk about the materials and other places to get them too. So these are called flashes, these big ones. This one's for Heather.
I love it, yes.
And they're about 4 feet wide. Okay. And you can add them, some people sell them with just happy birthday. I wanted one for fabulous, 40 and fabulous, 50 and fabulous, that kind of thing. These are called flashes, the big pieces like this. And then there's also letters. So let's talk letters, okay? This is a 23-inch letter. For all of your letters, you want 18 to 23 inches. So let me show you the difference. If you live in an area with very small yards, you're not gonna wanna do the giant letters. I also like the smaller letters for names. That's just my preference. So let's say I had happy birthday, I had Abby last night. Here's a comparison to the 18-inch size.
Oh, got it.
Which is really nice. So you do happy birthday and then name on the bottom or however you want to create it. And then themes. So themes are my favorite part of it because when we're face painting, we get to do, of course, unicorns, hence the unicorn.
Yeah.
Balloons for birthdays, all kinds of balloons.
I love it.
Here's There's single balloons where you can get creative and kind of make your own clusters. I brought everything for you guys. So here's some more girly pieces.
Oh, I love it.
This goes with my fabulous.
Yes, it does.
Back there. Here's really popular for the boys. Heather has boys, she knows. My girls actually love this too.
Yes, they do. Yes,
I probably do an 80%, I think, of our business is for the boys is they always want gaming. Some type of. So the flashes are the big pieces. You have letters, and then we have flair. We call these flair.
Okay.
And then some basics, stars, balloons. Here we go. Sports. You want to have sports. Emojis.
Yes.
And then, you know, anything you can think of can become a yard card. So.
Oh my goodness. So in terms of like, obviously you made a decision, you invested in it, which, you know, is important in itself. I mentioned this with the other interview I did with Lorena and her t-shirts is that, you know, part of making something real and putting effort into it means an investment. And, you know, sometimes the investment is super small and more time involved, where in this case, inventory, you didn't have any of that inventory. So you had to make an investment, right? And was that scary for you during a time of like, you know,
oh my gosh,
worldwide pandemic?
Extremely scary for me. But I knew that this will also be a nice addition down the road. Yes. For what we're already doing. So it wasn't like I was pivoting completely. It's something that I can incorporate into my business as well. So I actually approached two friends because I wanted to go big. You can start small. So if you're going to start small, I recommend a happy birthday set, a congrats set, and then you can even get some name letters, preferably black. A set of black alphabet letters will take you a really long way. Some great places to look. Most of the vendors that I use actually have shops on Etsy, so it's all there, and then you can message them too. And then local printers. Check with your local printers to see if they can print things for you. But I took my stimulus check and I asked a friend and my boyfriend if they would go in with me. And it's also very physical, okay? So we're setting up in the evenings. Some people set up mornings. There are forums that you can join, just like our face painting forums, learn more about it. I go out between probably 8 and 10:30 in the evenings. It's just what works for me. Some people do super early morning setups. I like for it to be a surprise when they wake up. So there is an investment. There's also a physical aspect to it because you are pushing stakes into the ground. Like they're made of plastic, right? So these are corrugated plastic signs. They're weatherproof and they have like slots in the bottom. Right? So corrugated plastic, not cardboard. They're not going to fold over in the rain. And you have to put stakes in them, metal stakes, and they're called H stakes. Let me show you that. So the H stake goes into your, I'm going to try and show you. You want tall ones and short ones, and you push it into the bottom of the sign, but then you have to stake these into the ground. And that can be a challenge if they haven't watered their lawn. So there is an art to it, you know, setting up a certain way, and it's physical. I'm usually really sweaty. But the end result is really nice.
Well, you know, I follow a lot of the yard card forums. Right now, they kind of popped up everywhere, you know.
Yes.
And it's definitely something that's growing really fast, which is a beautiful thing because we want people not to abandon the ideas of parties and gatherings and just celebrating, right? Because that's one thing, unfortunately, that COVID did is it took away a lot of our social connectivity. But these cards, you know, create an event for people and a beautiful picture moment as well. But I follow a lot of the forums and one thing that I have seen come up time and time again is there's people who are really struggling to create beautiful yard decor, right? So I think as a face painter who pivoted into the yard cards, you are at an advantage, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think we generally see a big picture, right? We're not just looking at some letters and wondering how am I going to put this in a yard. The aspect that I love is creating the theme, with the elements, with the colors, putting them together. And play. You have to play with it. I run out in my yard and I do setups when I get new things in. And you have to advertise yourself, just like face painting. You have to market yourself. If I've got all of this stuff sitting on a shelf, what good is it going to do me if I haven't advertised it? Have to get a logo. You have to put your name out there, and creating beautiful displays that really set you apart. And I try to source unique pieces from all different vendors. So when people ask me, where do you get your stuff? I truly get them all over. But start with your local printer and then try Etsy, because you can find some really unique things. And also based on what your customers want. I get asked for like space all the time. And one of the girls that makes the cards said, I don't get asked for space ever. So I think it just depends on what your customers want too.
Absolutely. And it was really this Power Hour is really to help remind artists that we have so many tools naturally in us, like the art, the visual, the creativity. It runs through our veins. So it makes it a lot easier to go into a business, because if you think about it, in 2 to 3 months, many of us had to completely shift our focus, right? Like, you either have a choice, you can wait it out, some people can afford that, or you had to really shift focus into something else. And because we're artistic, we're able to do that a lot faster with a yard card business. So besides the yard cards, how hard for you was it to create like the business side? Like, do you do most of your booking through Facebook, or is it on your website? Like, was that part harder for you than the actual, setting?
That's a really good question. I actually have run businesses myself. I think that's kind of just part of who I am. Very much like you. I've been an entrepreneur since I was probably 25. So that part of it for me came really naturally. You definitely want to have a logo. You definitely want to have a website. I will say the first month, May was insane. Probably that's when it really blew up, which is nice for you if you start now, because people know what they are, most people. Right. So learn your market, learn if there's people around you. For booking, for me, I was doing everything through PayPal invoicing, and it got exhausting because I was doing them one by one until my website could be set up. Eventually, I just sat down and bit the bullet and did everything online, and it has made a world of a difference. So if people have questions, they can, of course, go to our Facebook page, but to have it all running through the website, they book the appointment, they pay, they write what they want, they answer all the questions in the form, has made a huge difference, huge difference.
Well, that part is so crucial, because as I interviewed Ashley, she talked a lot about saying, like, I had to spend 2 days on my website and to be able to be effective and to help me hopefully sustain myself until this is over. And the same thing with you, the fact that you said, okay, I started off small with my Facebook page. And then as the business grew and I saw the viability of it, I said, okay, the next step is, a website. And that's good advice for people who, want to see something through or want to see the results of it, right?
Yes, I think the 3 most important things I can say are market yourself by getting a logo. We wear these in the yard. We have signs that we put out. Market yourself. All the things you learn from Heather in her business classes are so relatable here. Market yourself. I mean, I learned from her. So the website for me, for this type of business, I was able to kind of organically grow without constant back and forth messaging, constantly having to write everything that they sent to me in an email, through an invoice that I was having to type up. I mean, now they just go in, they put everything in a form, it comes back to me, and I am truly seeing a more organic flow of the business than me having to do everything on one side,
Absolutely. So you nailed it before it became a problem, because I know, I'll tell you, with starting a hand sanitizer line, at first I said, well, there's no hand sanitizers and we need something. And then as I delved into it, I didn't realize how much work it is to make a hand sanitizer.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's considered an over-the-counter drug, which means you have to register it with both the FDA and the EPA. So long story short, guys, yeah, it's a long process, but in the end, it's worth it. Like, there's a theme for this show or for this Power Hour, and it's really about, the greatest part about working really hard is that the results are all yours, right? They're for you to benefit from monetarily, benefit from just personally, so you don't feel like completely stressed out. So, I really wanted people to hear from you, somebody who went all in, didn't just say, I'm going to dip a pinky in and see if it works. Guys, there's an important part of going all in, or at least being committed to whatever you decide to do. And it doesn't mean that you have to abandon face painting, because you're right. When I see the yard cards, I see it as a potential to upsell your clients in the future.
Absolutely.
Right?
So that was one of the other things in the back of my mind the entire time is, when parties get started again, I will be doing a face painting and yard card package, because if they want, like, I also foresee more themes for me happening in the future, because they're going to want, like, we had a pool party with a family last night, but she said, oh, I want, we're having a pool party in the backyard. So can you make it so his theme is like pool party themed, that goes along with what they're doing for the day. Right. So I could see it really being a nice addition to what we're already doing.
And that's great foresight, because again, I try to manage my day and just my business and thinking like immediate, short-term, long-term. And when I think of like which ways to expand our business, I look at the yard cards as a perfect example to say, like, long-term, it's not something that I have to just throw away once my face painting picks up. It's really a nice marriage for both of them, right? So
absolutely.
I don't want to, I'm so grateful that you made time, because let me tell you guys, Cameron has been pulling quadruple duty. It is hard. It's hard work, right? I'm not going to tell people on the idea that it's fast and easy.
Yes, it looks fast and easy. It really does. But I have to stake each individual piece. My team, there's 3 of us. We prepare everything before we go out. We get it all ready to go based on what the customer has told us. I confirm it with them. I make sure they know what time we're coming. And then we have to go out into the yard. And sometimes I'm on my hands and knees in a yard with a rubber mallet, banging stakes into the ground. So it's physical. And know your market. Know if you have big yard, very large yards, you can go really big. If also maybe have them send you a picture of their yard, because you might have to scale back a little bit. So, but it is definitely physical, and you have to know your limits. I know some people do they'll take 7 and 8 a night. There's no possible way I could do that. No. So we limit it to
people are.
Yes. And they're going. And I know there's a balloon artist that does 7 and 8. She takes her daughter and she is killing it. And I think it's awesome. I wish I could remember her name. But we do 3. The reason why is because if you have a couple busy nights back to back, you have to do the pickups and the setup. Right. So you're picking up from those yards that they're already in, and then you're setting up in the next yard. So it is extra work, so just be aware. I will say very quickly before I forget, when you start researching, you'll see a lot of franchises. If that's, I didn't realize that, but that's what you're going to see first, is all of the franchises that want you to buy in. If that's the way that you need to go and have them send you everything, feel free to do it, but also know that you can do it completely on your own. We are completely our own entity. So we don't have to use what they send us. We can pull from anything, anywhere, and add it to our displays. So I did want to mention that too.
That's awesome advice. Thank you so much. Because, sometimes it can be really intimidating. Like, I've seen people say, yes, I want to get into this. And I always tell people, before you jump, it's important to walk through ideas, walk through markets, walk through what you're going to charge, because it's important to know these things. Because, at the end of the day, you're working a very long, like, even if you're starting from 8 to 10 at night, that's when most people are taking their day down.
Yes,
so,
exactly.
You got to be prepared mentally to say if that's for you. But if you are, and if you're of sound body and mind that can go and move signs and get them into the ground, this might be a great option for you to add to your business, to be able to, add some income immediately, because birthdays are not going away.
They're not.
Celebrations are not going away. They're just
babies. Still babies. Probably more babies coming.
I was thinking in 9 months, you're going to be your busiest ever. You better get some more boy and girl signs.
You guys, exactly.
So those are super important things. I want to tell you thank you, Cameron, for taking time out of your busy day to just explain a little bit of what yard cards are. I know that you've been doing an amazing job. Like I'm looking at your Facebook page, I'm like, oh
Thank
my God,
you.
it's like art for the eyes when
It's
I
so
when I
fun.
see.
It's such another fun artistic outlet for me. It's
And
been
you're
really
doing a
enjoyable.
great job. And of
Thank
course, I'm
you.
so proud of you that all you've been able to accomplish and not, just kind of dig yourself in a ditch, but you picked it up and you did what you had to
I was in
do.
the ditch with everybody else too. I was in that ditch
But
first.
you got out of it. And that's where I would say, cheers to you, and hopefully it inspires somebody watching to know that, we have a lot of possibilities, guys, from designing Zoom backgrounds. Okay. People ask me all the time, can you design my Zoom background? Yes, I but just from designing Zoom backgrounds to doing yard cards to doing pretty much everything that we love doing and using our creativity. So I say cheers to the girls of the world because we
Cheers. We
are.
can do it. We can do it.
That's right. All right, Cameron, I can't wait to have you back in the FABAtv studio so I
Me
can have
too. I can't wait
love
to.
you.
Hugs, air
And
hug.
good luck, girl, with everything. We're proud of you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, how awesome was that, right? That interview gave me so much inspiration and motivation because I have tons of friends who are creative and visual and can see things magically in a larger area. And look behind me. This is a recent, I believe Cameron did it this morning, and she sent me a picture. And I said, oh my God, this is like beautiful. Imagine coming home to seeing this on your lawn after having a baby. I mean, most of us, when we leave the hospital after having a baby, we feel like what? A dump truck hit us. So imagine coming home and being able to see something like this beautiful and for your neighbors to celebrate with you because you don't want them coming to touch your baby right now. But what a special treat, right? And I think, and I mentioned it in my interview with Cameron, that because we're artists, we have an advantage when you jump into something like yard signs. Why? Because you can see the beautiful color combinations. You can say pinks look good with this, or this looks good with this. And that's something that a lot of people don't have. They don't have the eye for the visuals that we do. Because I'm on a lot of forums, and nothing against those people. It's just I know who's a face painter or a balloon artist or an artist, and I can tell the difference between their layouts, their setups, their positioning. Another amazing FABAtv instructor, Corinne Sparkles, she's been doing yard signs up in Michigan, and when I see her displays, I always get so excited because her, Cameron, this visual component takes yard cards to the next level. So Cameron is very busy, guys, but she has a fabulous website, tallyardcards.com, and she will be able, if you go to her website, you can see her pricing, you can see her layouts, you can see her different themes, and decide if it's for you. But for those of you that have this opportunity, live in an area with good big yards, this might be a great business for you to pivot and then add onto your existing packages, because there's, in my area anyways, there's not a lot of parties going on right now, more drive-bys than anything else, and this is a great way to add beauty, aesthetics, fun picture moments to your birthdays and your events. So definitely check out Tally Yard Cards. Hit up our girl Cameron. Make sure you visit her channel on FABAtv. I've learned so much from her, even just how to use an angle brush, which by the way is going to come in very handy later, because at around 2 o'clock, 2:30, I have the one and only, the talented Elizabeth Gale. She inspired the love letter contest on FABAtv, and she's going to guide us through a step-by-step painting of a birthday card. So grab a piece of cardstock. This one is like watercolor cardstock. I love it. Grab your favorite brushes, some arty cakes so you can paint along. And if you want to be featured on the screen behind me, all you have to do is log into the Zoom, which I will provide you guys. It's on our page right now, but I'll remind you anyways to log in, turn on your camera, paint along with us so we can show you off behind us and make Elizabeth really excited. She filmed this video for me, and while I was editing it, her voice was so soothing. It was just like, I love the word bits. I don't think we use a lot of the word bits in America as much, but hearing it with a beautiful English accent made my day so bright. So make sure that you tune in, and if you have to come and go, please do that. But I would would love to see you guys paint along. That's how we're going to kind of take it down. It's like a workout, right? So we kind of build ourselves up. We're going to work hard throughout the day listening to all these interviews, and then we're going to take it down with a beautiful painting, because our artistic brains need that balance. All right, so to keep the Power Hour flowing, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to FABAtv. We have amazing specials going on right now. With your support, that's how we're able to continue doing great things on FABAtv. With your support and your energy and your motivation, we're able to produce live Power Hours and have new artists and instructors. Last Monday, we had Amanda Pearson on teaching you hand lettering. And then before that, we had Francesca Fiorini all the way from Italy. And then we had Zuri teaching you an awesome kind of scary cat face, in addition to 500 other classes. So when I tell you it's worth it, for $99 is like a 6-month package, what a great deal. So I encourage you guys to join us, to invest in your success on FABAtv, because that's what we're here for. So our next presenter, our next interview, like I said, it was Lorena first. It's okay. Okay, so let's go to... Oh, okay, so we'll do, can you click on the t-shirt one? Sorry, guys. It's not going to be Ashley. It's going to be Lorena. So, Lorena used to work at Silly Farm. This is a little background. And then she went on to, she used to work at Fab Events, and she went on to another career path. And out of nowhere, a couple weeks ago, I saw that she started a t-shirt business. And I'm not wearing her t-shirt. I am in the interview. But, of course, I naturally have to support, because I'm proud of her. But I was so intrigued as how someone who I didn't know to be have any knowledge of t-shirts or understand how to make t-shirts, I didn't know how she started the business. So I wanted to bring her on to hopefully inspire some of you that are either nervous or think you don't have the skill set to start a creative business. And I want to introduce you to another female fellow entrepreneur, so that you guys can be inspired, motivated, and just get your wheels rolling, right? You never know. People wear t-shirts every single day of the week. And now that most of us are not in a professional environment 7 days a week or even 5 days a week, what do? We wake up and put on a t-shirt, which means even though there's lots of t-shirts available, it means every single person needs them. So I want to encourage you. I hope you enjoy this t-shirt talk with Lorena, the owner and creator of Hearts for Jesus. All right, welcome everybody. I am super excited about this interview for many reasons. One, because me and this beautiful lady right here, Lorena, share the same birthday. So that's how you, number one, know that it's awesome. You know, Team Pisces in the house, right? Number two, we go back many, many years. She used to be a very special part of the Fab Events team and Silly Farm. And still to this day, you know, even if people move on, they're still always part of the family, right? Mm-hmm. So Lorena and I have grown up together, and she's a mother to two beautiful, beautiful, beautiful girls. She's a wife, and she's a businesswoman. And I invited her on the program to be able to, one, inspire you, because she has a great story. In a very small amount of time, many people across many industries saw their whole lives change, from work to school to routine to health, right? So I'm going to let Lorena tell you a little bit about how she got started. And this whole segment is about using your skills and your gifts and putting in the work, because as I explained to her, when the hard work is awesome, because if you put in all this hard work, all the results you get to keep, nobody else, right? So in this process, she was able to start a t-shirt business. It's called Hearts for Jesus. Look at my shirt, okay? I love it. It makes my boobs look good too. Okay, so love one another. So the message is there. There's a beautiful story behind it, and I wanted to just introduce you guys to the owner, the creator behind Hearts for Jesus, Lorena. All right, so tell them how you got started. Like, what happened to inspire starting a t-shirt company?
Okay, so Heather, thank you for having me. I am like so happy to be here and nervous at the same time. So basically, Hearts for Jesus has been on my heart, and it's been on my mind for a couple years now. And, you know, the fear has just kind of like blocked me from trying to get to where I want to be, which is now, right? And unfortunately, what is happening to a lot of us, you could kind of take this in a good way or in a bad way, right? You can just kind of sit there and just dwell on what's going on, or you can kind of make something out of the situation, which is really what I wanted to do. Because also I have almost teenager, right, that is looking at me, and I really want her to kind of not follow what I do, but just kind of see that there's opportunities out there, and then you just have to kind of follow them, right? And just kind of make the best out of the situation. Absolutely. So Hearts for Jesus, it's really all about bringing God's message home, right? And we live in such a crazy world that I think now more than ever, we need to have a message of love and a message of hope and a message of thankfulness, right? Because we are here, we are alive, and we are doing what we love to do. And even if we're not doing what we love to do, but we're alive. So we have so much to be thankful for. And that's really what I want to get through these shirts, right?
Absolutely. So tell us, how did, you know, before we turned on the camera, you were telling me the story of the story of how this started, you know, because many of us for years, we have ideas in our heads or a passion or something kind of like in the background that inspires us. And we're like, we're going to get the time, we're going to get the motivation, we're going to make it happen. And then life happens. Okay. We're mothers, we're wives, and you get it. Many of us work full-time jobs, and the passion that's sitting there, like Hearts for Jesus, is not always the easiest thing to put in the front. So how did you, during a pandemic, start a t-shirt company?
So luckily, right, because I really do thank God for this. Number one, I got laid off. Well, first I got furloughed, and then I got laid off. And I think that was just really a blessing for me, because number one, I get to stay home with my girls, and I get to protect them from whatever is going out there, right? And then number two, if I didn't have this free time in my hands, then I would have never decided to really go full force with this, you know. And a lot of things kind of fell into place for me. I was fortunate enough that did happen for me. So I was able to go ahead and obviously too, push from my friends, because they were like, just do it. You've been talking about it, just do it. And those are the best friends that you can have, right? Right. The ones that just kind of push you and make you better. And really that's what it was. It's just trying to make the best of the situation that I found myself in, and just kind of go for it.
And so did you have a background in making t-shirts? Because most people think that unless you have all the skills, you can't do it. And I tell people, when I started Silly Farm, I knew nothing about e-commerce. But, you know, like I said, the hard work always leads to results. And is it easy? No. But can you figure it out? Most of the time, yes. Because I think women are the most like multitaskers in the world. So I'm confident that we can figure things out. But did you have experience in t-shirts?
No. I mean, I had nothing. I just knew that I wanted like certain things. So a lot of things inspire me, right? Like verses in the Bible that I read inspire me, songs inspire me. Like, so if I could put anything on a t-shirt that's inspirational, like that's what I wanted to do. Like I just knew that I wanted something on a t-shirt, but I didn't know how to get there. So it was a lot of YouTube, a lot of like websites and apps and all that stuff that kind of helped me get started with this. But no, I mean, I never really even tried to do something.
That in itself, Lorena, is a huge inspiration, because again, so many people are scared of the unknown, but you don't know until you try, you know. I want to make sure you guys are following her on Instagram, and I'll put the Instagram up. It's in the slide, but I'm also going to put it at the bottom, because, you know, your last video post that you made up was like the way that you were putting the t-shirt together. And I was, one, so inspired, but two, so proud, because in a day and age where, you know, there's so much competition when it comes to t-shirts, one thing that really stands out for me anyways was kind of the love put into the message, but also into the production, the quality of the shirt. So, you know, I know right now you're just starting and you're growing, but how much work was it to find the right t-shirts? Because I'm going to tell you guys, this is my favorite t-shirt. The quality of it is like the softest, best t-shirt. And then, you know how women feel when we have a dress with pockets and we're just like, this is the best thing. This shirt comes with the arms folded, right? And I loved mine for that, okay? Like, I was like, this was the best shirt I ever put on because the arms were already folded. I just washed it and I have to refold them. But I was like, what a beautiful idea. So just talk a little bit about like the process of finding the right shirt, making it, and how that's working out for you.
Right. So the shirt, actually, the folded thing, it's actually something that I do myself for you, for everyone. Okay. It's really, I just want for you to kind of like feel like really good when you grab it and when you have it, you know, because a t-shirt is kind of hard. Sometimes they're boxy. Sometimes they don't give you, like, they're heavy or stiff or whatever. So I don't want it to feel like you're just buying a t-shirt. You know what I mean? So if I wanted to put that little extra just by folding it, I think that would make it just a little bit extra special. With t-shirts, I didn't know anything about them. I just kind of researched. I kind of just saw what were people using, right? Because obviously you kind of have to guide yourself with reviews and all that stuff. And it kind of worked out because I found these shirts and I really don't think I want to switch them. They're just really good all around, you know. The processes of getting into shirts, it's what they call is a print on demand. So basically you just uploading your design and then just let a company handle the printing of the shirt, the packaging, and sending it over. But I wanted to make sure that I wrapped it in tissue paper and then I wrapped it with a little sticker, and I did like those extra things that people feel good about when they purchase because it's their hard-earned money. So I want it to be worth it for them, you know.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I can say, you know, that when I received your package, from the bag to the tissue paper to the ribbon to the heart on it, like, I was so impressed with the whole process from ordering to just receiving it, you know. And I could tell from the rolled sleeves and the way it was packaged that it was made with love. And I know that matches the message, obviously, but it also matches the person behind it, because the t-shirt industry is huge, right? Most people wake up every single day and put on what? A t-shirt. So, you know, even though while it seems like it's such a huge industry, you know, by carving out your piece, by putting those details, that actually makes a difference, not only to the end user, but to yourself, right? Because you feel good when you pack and ship that package. So thank you, girl. I love my shirt so much. So tell me about your designs. Like, is this something you designed? Did you have to hire a designer? Because that's another thing. People are, they have a vision, but they can't execute it all the time. So, like, was that a challenge for you?
Definitely a challenge. The whole design thing for me is still something very new and I'm learning, okay? So right now, I know what the message I want to get into the t-shirt. And then I look to these apps, and then these apps help me create something that can relate to people, because it's not just me, right? I have to be able to appeal to people, especially in this section or in this like niche that it's faith, you know, it's I guess religion based. So it's kind of, you kind of have to approach it in a certain way where people are open to it, you know. And so the great thing is that there are these resources, there's these apps, there's programs where they help you just kind of put it all together, you know. There's also pre-made designs that you can buy off of these graphic design artists, and you know, you can just buy them and then you use them for your use, you know, for your business. And it's worked out for me because it just kind of gave me that push to start. And now going forward, I'm going to start to kind of do my own thing and kind of put out the message that really, really I want to put out, which is more on like on a deeper level, you know.
It's been 3 months, and in 3 months, guys, think about this. In 3 months, she's been able to do enough research and time to find t-shirts, because you're making these shirts, correct?
Yeah.
She's
Yes.
not doing print on demand. Now, print on demand is a opportunity. It's obviously a different type of opportunity where you design it and then they'll print it and ship it on demand. She took the other route, which was to actually hand make them herself. So within 3 months, she's been able to source T-shirts and designs and apps and set up an Etsy store, correct? Because that's where you're selling right now. And selling on Etsy. So you see, guys, is it easy? Probably not. Is it free? Probably not. You know, one thing I've noticed is that people are scared to make an investment.
Yeah.
And I always say that if you're not willing to put skin in the game, and skin in the game means money and time, you're probably not going to see any results. So when were you speak a little bit about like making that initial jump? Were you scared to invest the money? Were you, did you have to talk to your husband and he was like, I don't know. I mean, talk a little bit about making, you don't have to tell us how much, but like about just saying, I'm going to commit to this, win, lose, or fail.
Yeah. So that was the hardest part, is just knowing that if I went out and bought a $400 cutting machine, right, that I needed to be invested in and I was going to make the most of it, right? And then the next step was buying a heat press because I wasn't going to iron it on because it's just, that doesn't work, right? I wanted to be like a professional, so I had to get professional equipment, right? So it's an investment and it's scary to kind of throw out that money like that, especially in the kind of times that we're in, because we need to save now is the time, right? But you also need to invest in all the shirts. I have like tons of shirts that I needed to invest that. I don't know if I'm going to sell or if I'm not, but I needed to take that chance, right? But it's really all about just taking that leap, investing time, because I'm staying up at all times of hours now. You find me in my corner like all the time on my computer, and you know, it's time, money, and effort, you know.
Right. But you know what? It's going to pay off. I'm proud of you. I know that your daughters, like you said, are looking up to you for many reasons, to see their mom build something from scratch, which is, you know, very important for our young people to see the possibilities that are out there. As a Hispanic woman, as a woman of faith, because, you know, these role models, they have to be homegrown for our kids. Okay. So in terms of the amount of time it took you to like set up the Etsy store, would you say that was like your hardest part, or what was the hardest part of starting your whole business?
The Etsy store was hard. You have to come up with like 10 designs initially to actually even open up a shop, right? And that's really hard because you kind of just want to put your foot out there, but now you have to create 10 designs. And so I wasn't ready for that. You know, I kind of did my research when it comes to what it takes to do the printing and the shirts, but not the Etsy. So when I did the Etsy shop initially, I felt like I was on a time crunch. And then I had already posted that I was going to start this because that to me was a push to myself. Like, okay, you already said it, now you got to do it. You know, it was kind of like I was pushing myself, and it really was hard figuring out prices and, you know, what people want to pay to, but I also need to compensate my time because it's just normal. Definitely the Etsy thing was probably the hardest, but other than that, I mean, it's just getting through it, you know. It's not gonna kill you. Nothing is gonna kill you.
Better. Okay, guys, you got to accept that challenge, you know, instead of completely getting scared. So, you know, just keep that in mind, guys, that if 10 was the magic number on Etsy, that's a good amount of time and energy for you to say, I'm going to commit. And then also putting it out there and letting people know. So last but not least, my beautiful Lorena, so what is some advice that you can give or that you would want to share with fellow entrepreneurs?
So definitely, if it's in your heart, it's been tugging at you for a while, I think it's reason enough to actually kind of go for it, right? And even if it's something you want to try out, then, you know, also try it, because you're just not going to know until you do it. Surround yourself with positive people who are going to lift you up and is going to encourage you to be a better yourself, you know, because I find that for me, it's so important that I surround myself. And I also the advice that I get from my friends that I give to my friends as well. So it's just kind of like a give and receive type of thing, because we're here to like push each other and just make ourselves better. And so if you're not around that, then you're going to find yourself kind of like in the same place. Yeah. Right? I don't know if that makes sense.
100% it does. 100%. And, you know, guys, originally when I called Lorena, she goes, I'm nervous. And I said, no, you can't be nervous. And it wasn't even me who convinced her. It was actually your daughter, right? Her teenager said, no, Mom, you got to do it. You got to conquer that fear, because that is part of entrepreneurship, right? Is being able to go outside of your comfort zone, do those things that you're not always comfortable with. But I have to tell you, you made me so proud today. You rocked it. I want to encourage everybody to head over to her Etsy store. I love my shirt. I just have to go get, it's funny because Henry saw me wearing it. He was like, oh, I love that shirt. I was like, let me go check out those man sizes, you know. But they're beautiful shirts with a beautiful message. And if now more than ever that you're walking around or just waking up in the morning and you kind of feel like you need something to make the day brighter, put on one of these shirts. Literally, most of us are living in t-shirts now. If we're working from home and we're not really going anywhere, that's not an excuse to not look and feel good. And with these beautiful shirts. So thank you, Lorena, for joining me today.
Thank you
so much for coming on the program, for sharing your knowledge. I think that so many people will take motivation and inspiration from you. Please send my love to the girls. Thank you so much. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'm going to go order me a shirt. All right. All right, guys. Wasn't that an amazing, inspirational interview on many levels? I mean, it has a lot to do with just making sure that we see all of the available opportunities in front of us, right? Because art, like I keep saying to you guys, reminding you, is such a gift. Many of you know, on August 1st, I will be launching my hand sanitizer and all-purpose spray collection. And one of the reasons I was able to do this is because I had a vision in mind of what I wanted, right? My goal was to create a product that kind of promoted happy, healthy habits, as opposed to there's so much fear attached with cleaning your hands and cleaning things and germs, and everybody has germs. So, you know, visually as an artist, my first approach to it was create something pretty, create something happy. And that's the same thing whether you're talking about shirts or whether you're talking about face painting or the way that Leanne designed her brush hot pink. As an artist, these things come natural to you. So utilize that. Don't kind of take it for granted. Don't be one of those people who thinks that art doesn't have a million possibilities. Because I remember in college, those poor art majors, people would be like, well, what are you going to do with art major? And I would think to myself, oh, what can't you do with an art major? I wasn't one of them. I actually was a finance student, way more boring. But I had every colorful notebook known to man, but still, those poor art students never got the credit they deserve, but they were responsible for painting murals, painting signs, making the school look better. And that's what we grew up to be, right? We grew up to be those people who change the world with our art, with our emotion, through dance, singing, everything. So, if you're just joining us, thank you. There is still a lot more to enjoy. I'm very excited about the next interviews, but I want to remind you, at around 2:30, we are going to do a paint-along with Elizabeth Gale. So this is a postcard that I painted using some arty cakes. She is going to guide you on a paint-along, and if you want to be part of it, if you want to be on the screen behind me showing off your skills as you paint with Liz, I'm going to give you the Zoom information so you can log in as well. Turn on your camera and paint along with us. That would be amazing if you do that, because then I get to show you off behind me. Also, so literally I have some cardstock and brushes and some arty cakes. So that's pretty much all you need to have a good time with us this afternoon. All right, our next presenter, our next entrepreneur, Our next entrepreneur is also a FABAtv teacher. Her name is Ashley Pickin, and originally when I reached out to her to interview her, I wanted to talk to her mostly about painting windows, because essentially with painting windows, it was just another avenue for many of us, right? So there's limited contact. It helps local businesses, because as businesses begin to reopen, they need signage, and many of them don't have space to put, say, a flag outside, or want to hire one of those people who spins the things because it's really hot. Here in South Florida, it's like 2,000 degrees outside, so any spinners, I always tip them because it's just too hot. So originally the conversation was going to be about window painting, and then it turned into an interview about how she pivoted very quickly into selling masks and utilizing her tools that she already have, which was a website, and flipping a switch to be able to turn it into an e-commerce site. So I hope that this interview inspires some of you who think, like, if I want to sell something, I gotta figure out Etsy, or figure out a website, or figure out this. The truth is, you don't have to. Some of these tools you already have at your disposal. So I want to introduce you guys to Ashley Pickin. I hope you enjoy this interview. I hope you take a lot from it. And I hope it reminds you that there are possibilities, like, already at your disposal. So come on, guys, let's invest in our success. Here's Ashley. So welcome, everybody. We are super excited to be bringing a FABAtv artist. Many of you know her because you've taken her classes at Kidvention. You've seen her both in the balloon circuit, the face painting circuit. You've seen her on FABAtv. She's definitely an inspiration to me, and I want to introduce you guys to Ashley Pickin. So Ashley, say hi.
Doing?
So I asked Ashley to come on the Power Hour to talk a little bit about investing in your success, about the benefits of being an artist, and all the things that you can do with your art. Because during this time, it's very easy to get discouraged. Many of us grew up hearing that art is not a real career, right? Like if you were an art major in college, people are like, well, what are you going to do with that? At least that's my experience. And most people don't really even value art until you're not around to make it anymore. So I have a different perspective on it. I tend to think like we're the luckiest people in the world because usually our art allows us to connect with people. We can pivot into many different areas, business world, because of our art. And I'm so glad that you're letting me interview you, because you have a unique situation. Like, first of all, look behind you. If I'm like drooling over here, one of all the patterns, look at this, guys, and go up to the ceiling here. Look at this. Okay. So number one, you are an anomaly, because face painters and artists typically are not that organized, but I'm very proud of you. And that makes me like really excited because that right there is truly impressive. But more so than anything else, Ashley, it has several different areas of art that you've been able to, like I said, pivot into during this time, because for most of us, birthday parties and events completely stopped. Now, is that the same for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, all of my gigs, I think my last job, like official job before all this started, was March the 11th. It was my Chick-fil-A kids night. And I was already freaking out then, at that point, it was already obvious that this was going to be a problem. Right. And so I was already trying my best to like handle that. So I was already doing that. So that was my last gig. And actually, believe it or not, I just worked my first gig since then, the day before yesterday, and we didn't do face painting because that's something that I just don't see myself being able to do safely right now. Okay. But we did balloons for a karate day camp, and we were only there for an hour. It went okay. Right. I don't see myself jumping back into it anytime soon. So we'll see.
So before we started this interview, guys, I was talking with Ashley to get things set up, and I mentioned, doing other projects as an artist, and she brought up that she's been doing illustrations for canvases. So I want to talk a little bit about the other avenues that you've opened up since COVID, because being that we can't do parties, it doesn't mean we give up. It just means we have to rethink and re-strategize. So the first thing is you've been utilizing everything behind you, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yesterday, an order of 50 masks, correct?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we've been making them since April, like late April, mid to late April. We started making masks. My husband and I taught him to sew so he could help me make them as well.
Oh,
And we didn't plan on making masks. It was a request. Like people just started asking. They know I could sew. They said, "Hey, could you make me some masks?" I said, "Sure, I'll make you some." And then I spoke to you, and we've made almost 3,000 now. So that was for a while. It was a full-time thing. We were sewing 10 hours a day, every day for about 3.5 weeks. And we're still making them. I'm working on an order of 50 for a business right now that is selling them at the countertop.
Okay.
You know, next to the register. And so they buy them wholesale from me and then resell them. Okay. And then I also, you know, I put them on my site. I have my face paint website, ashleythefacepainter.com. And I just created a shop on my site. So now people can buy masks through my website.
And that's something that I wanted to talk to you about too, because this particular interview has like almost 3 parts to it. Because as I made my notes, I'm getting better. I'm not a journalist, right? I don't even like the camera, but I also love to be able to hopefully help people out of the way they're feeling, because I know that there's days I wake up and I'm having a really crummy day and I'll get an email from a face painter, or I'll get an email from somebody in our industry, and it'll change my day. So I always say, just let's pay that forward. And I love Eva too. She's awesome. But you know, in this day and age, it's a beautiful time to be an entrepreneur because there's very little barriers to entry, right? Like anybody can start an Etsy shop. Anybody can actually learn to face paint. Like we don't have, you don't have to get certified. You don't have to like even use good stuff. Right. You know, the reality is
almost like when it comes to like the creative community, there's very little gatekeeping anymore.
So you already had an existing face painting website.
Yes. So
I was already in existence.
Yeah. So I already have a site for like, so when clients were, you know, interested in face painting or tattoos or balloons or whatever, they would visit my site. My site is ashleythefacepainter.com. I tried to make it as memorable and as accessible as possible. It used to be my company name, but that was hard to spell and hard to remember. So I just made it my name, which was much easier. And my best friend, Tal Thompson, she took my site and she showed me, she said, "Hey, you know, you can turn this into a website with a store, like a shopping store." And I was like, "Oh my God, you're so smart." And she kind of gave me like the basics, and I took a couple of days and I set it all up. And now I run all of my sales through my site. So, and I'm able to use like my mailing list that came from my face paint site and all of that stuff. And I'm able to send out newsletters and say, "Hey, there's new stock on the site." You know, giving updates. You know, I had to send out an email that said, you know, "Hey, I'm not face painting for a while, guys, but we are making masks. If you're interested." I use MailChimp. And of course, you know, MailChimp shows you like who clicked on your email, who went through your site. I mean, I had 6 people who went directly to my site from that newsletter blast, you know, out of, you know, 300 or 400. Right. I had 6 people who clicked on it, which is pretty good, and went through, and those people made purchases. It was already part of my site. It wasn't anything I was paying more to do. I just had to like turn it on and set it up more or less. It was totally worth it.
Well, that's what I wanted to explain, because so many people are threatened to actually have a physical site. Like the trend over the years has been put a lot of effort into just your social media because it has more traffic. More people are kind of just already browsing on Facebook, scrolling through, or having an Etsy store is very simple because there's so many tools for the people who are not as savvy. So would you say, you know, as somebody who has websites, I have a little bit more knowledge, and I personally wouldn't say to have a site as big as Silly Farm or like FABAtv that it's a one-man show. But would you say that once you got your like once you figured out how to run your site, in order to add the shopping feature, was it something that you could do yourself, or do they need to hire somebody?
So mine is through Squarespace, the Squarespace market. So my site, I actually paid someone to create my site for me and all of my branding a couple of years ago.
Okay.
So my site was already there. The thing I had to do, the only thing I had to do was to physically go into my site dashboard, drag and play templates at this point.
Yes.
And I literally was like, commerce, like it was a flipping a switch, and it was like, and then just filling in all the information of what you needed, you know, turning on your cart, turning on the store, adding in items, taking photos. I mean, it took 2 days. I'm not going to lie. It took 2 days of work to set it up, but it was so worth it because now it's really streamlined. Everything is in one place. I can track everything. I have all of my customers' contact information. I run all of my sales through there, so I don't have to pay extra fees with PayPal or with anything. I was running everything through PayPal for a while, and that was extra fees on top of fees. So I was like, it's nice to kind of streamline it, and I think it's totally worth it. I really wasn't what I would call difficult. It was just an investment in time, for me. And I didn't have a lot going on, Heather. I don't know if you've noticed there's a pandemic, so I had a lot of time on my hands.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to kind of reinforce to our industry. For those people who are feeling discouraged or feel like you don't have the extra funds to hire anybody, you don't know what to do next. The beauty is that most of us have amazing free resources at our disposal. Like, luckily for you, Tal, being that best friend, is able to say, like, Ashley, here's an idea. But, part of that just takes kind of like reaching out to your community, reading and investing. 2 days, like 2 days worth of work was able allowed you to pivot into selling thousands of masks. So, the return on that investment is significant, but most people don't think, that it's doable. And I'm glad that you touched on that, because able to spend 2 days and build, be able to grow your business that way. Right.
Right. And of course, and if I didn't know something, it was, visiting good old Google, or I would be that friend who's like, hey, Tal, so, I have no problem with leaning on my friends when I need help, because I'm there for them if they need me. And so I know that they'll be there for me. And honestly, this whole effort has been this kind of weird, mix up of things my friends have suggested. Eva said, hey, you should sell masks. Tal said, hey, you should start a site. All of this has been a group effort, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But, some things I've done on my, but that's how it is. Don't be afraid to just talk to people about what they're doing. And then, if something sounds good, do it. Don't be afraid. What's the worst thing that happened? You wasted some time, probably. So
that's 100% true. And that was truly the goal of this, was to just be able to say, like, thankfully for us, our industry is what I call like a small, big industry, right? So like most of us can feel like we have a friend in Germany or a friend in Australia, because the community is so small. So it's good to be able to call on each other for help. And like you said, a good idea is a good idea. Like I'm seeing in the rest of this Investing Your Success Power Hour, I have Cameron and I have, and she's going to talk about her yard signs, because she pivoted into,
which was something else I looked into.
Right. So, that's the thing. I really am focused on encouraging everybody to just remember, like, our art is such a gift. Like, you're able to take your ability to draw and turn it into sewing and using right fabrics. Or when I say right fabrics, I mean like pretty fabrics, right?
Right. So I think, well, it also helps that I used to own a store when I was in college, and in the store I sold what I made. Right. So sewing as part of my income is not completely foreign to me. It's something I did in the past when I was, in my 20s, when I was in college. But I think the reason my stuff sells so well that I sew is because I choose really bright, crazy prints. And that's the thing I hear the most, other than quality, from people, is the fact that they love the colors that I choose. They love the prints that I choose, because for me, I think of them like paint, right? The fabric is like a giant palette. These are all my split cakes back here, guys. Fabrics together. I'm just creating, my favorite split cake, and then I'm sewing that into a bag or an apron, a mask, whatever. And that's the part people like. They like the crazy colors and stuff that I use, and that's why it does well.
Absolutely. And in addition to running your website, which is awesome, I love the idea of reaching out to your existing clients, because even though they might have only contracted you for balloon services, those people have kids and you sew masks. So, it's amazing that you're able to keep up with your mailing list. Like, these are things that we can do as entrepreneurs every single day, because every day that you invest in your business yourself is a step in the right direction, right?
No, and I push through all of my, and of course you're saying people put a lot of effort into social media, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think social media is important, because before I even started the shop inside my website, I was selling only through Facebook, and it took a long time. But the moment I set up my website where I had a link that I could direct people to where they could shop at any time without having to talk physically to me, because before it was, I want that print, 2 of it, please, 1 kid, 1 adult. I was doing, everything was custom orders, right? So now it's just in a store. They can be laying in bed at 3 a.m. They can see all the pictures of what's available and just shop, and they don't have to interact with me at all. So then my sales took off, right? Because there's no back and forth.
Right. So you see, guys, this is so inspiring and so exciting because, again, I don't want people to just give up on the art. I know that the possibilities are endless because in addition to the mask, besides sewing, besides illustrating, which is so cool, I mean, I also do window painting. I find to be so interesting because, in a day and age where businesses have been impacted and now the ones that are going to open, they need more than ever to show off that they're open and remind people and engage people.
So I haven't put it on my site yet, only because, honestly, up until a few weeks ago, we were literally sewing 10 hours a day. I didn't have time to do windows. I actually had to turn them away for a while. Because we were sewing so much.
The beauty of window art is, so if you are able to pick up a customer who's, say, a restaurant, and you make a good relationship with them, when things improve, you can always go back to offer your other services, which are
I mean, if you think about it, I think a lot of face painters are already in their mailing list, their email list, probably already have a ton of business owners who would be interested in something like a window splash, right? Restaurant owners, we all do those kids nights, right? So restaurant owners, kids parties that you've done where the parents own a business and you just didn't realize it. Maybe dad owns a restaurant or mom owns, an eyeglass store or something. I've done windows mostly for restaurants, only because they were asking me to paint inspirational messages on their windows. They wanted their hours, the fact that they were open for takeout and delivery, those kinds of things. So I did probably 12 restaurants in a couple of weeks at one point, like bam, 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 bam. Wow. It was intense. It was exhausting. It's hot outside, so I do them at 5 a.m. because I try to beat the heat. But it's fun. They don't pay as well as face painting does. But it's money and it's fun. I love painting a giant surfing hot dog. That's cool. I started Instagram just for my window paintings. It's called Ashes Window Splashes.
Okay, so I'll put that up too.
Yeah, so I do have that, and I did get one window through that already, so that was nice. I think just do all the things you can. If you've got the money, go ahead and try to get some maybe Facebook advertising. If not, don't worry about it. Do all of the things you can that you already have at your disposable. On your site, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, all that junk. And then I just I send out email blasts. I think that helps a lot. If they're interested in a window painting, I highly recommend checking out this guy, Scott Campbell.
Okay.
I learned everything I know from him. Like I'm a member of his Patreon. The dude is like the godfather of window painting. He's like, how like Silly Heather has like hundreds of YouTube videos.
I don't know her, yes.
Have you met that lady? So like Scott is like that, with window painting, tons.
Thank you for that resource, because what I'm finding is, I know for me personally, one of my joys is painting these little faces. So like when you think of transferring it from like 3 inches to 3 feet, it's a flat surface, it's a different medium. Did you have experience in window painting before you met Scott, or was it something that you got excited about like through the face painting community?
So,
how did you get into the window painting?
It was something I've always known existed as an art form. It was something that I kind of followed. It was a tag I followed on Instagram for a long time. Mm-hmm. Scott was a guy who I knew of because of his other lowbrow art that he makes. I have a degree in art, so I learned about him in college, actually. Oh, I know that guy. Oh, he does the windows too. How cool. Oh, window painting is so interesting. It was something I've always been interested in. So for me, it was just kind of always floating in the background. And then I just kind of one day, like Tal and I got together and she was like, we should paint the Art Factory window. And I said, okay. So we did it. And that was my first window. It was fun. And I was like, I want to do more of this. And then I got like obsessed with watching window painting videos on, YouTube.
That's
And then I met Anne Rogenkamp at the St. Louis Face Paint Convention.
Okay.
And she is a window painter, and she was there and she taught a class on window painting, and I took it from her. It was like just 2 hours, and I was there, and Lenore was there, and we teamed up, and we face painters also do windows, guys. So I highly recommend looking into it. It's super fun. It doesn't take that much supplies. Okay. And it's something you can always stick in the garage and come back to later.
See, that's the thing. We're very lucky because, like I said, there's so many resources available to people right now in terms of, digital learning. That's why I keep on pushing FABAtv, because the more that you invest in your success, the easier it is to go from face painting to sewing masks. They're not able to have e-commerce.
Right, but I think a lot of our skills transfer very easily, because when you face paint, you're learning to draw, right? So if you can draw, you can mix and match that with a lot of different mediums. It doesn't have to just be a piece of makeup. It can be a paintbrush, it can be a marker, it can be a giant Posca marker on a window. People shouldn't be afraid to learn a skill if it's going to help them, especially if it makes them happy. Of course, you can do that too. But I mean, at this point in life, for me, honestly, it's about just getting through.
Okay. So, long story short, art makes the world a better place. Thank you for being part of our art community. And like I said, I hope to have you back over here. Hope to have you at FABAtv. We're working on that too. So, good things are going to come to those people who are willing to hang in there. So thank you, Ashley. Tell Ryan I said hi. And
I will.
I'll make sure to put your website, your everything up, because I want to make sure people go and support you. So thank you. Have a great day and stay healthy, okay? All right.
Be good.
Bye. Hey everybody, right? How awesome was that, right? There's just something so incredible about hearing from different entrepreneurs. Just lower the volume for me. So there's something just so incredible about listening, hearing from different entrepreneurs. Like Ashley's road to finding out how to sell and her success in that area didn't come from spending time and learning Etsy. It was just a matter of talking to friends, picking up things, utilizing them, and utilizing something she already had in place. So Ashley already had her website, lucky for her, and it was a matter of just like she said, flipping a switch, adding the products, writing the descriptions. And yeah, that part isn't fun. I'm not going to lie to you. Every product for Silly Farm, I have to do that. I have to take the pictures. I have to create the marketing. I have to, measure it for shipping purposes. But like I said, the results are yours to keep. So keep that in mind if you're home and you're making plans. And the way that I approach goal setting, or even just goals and vision in general, is I think like immediate, short-term, long-term. So like immediate is, what do I have to do today to be productive, to stay out of a depression, to stay out of the dumps? What can I do for the next 3 months to hopefully help my business not tank, and also my own personal dreams? And then long term, can I see whatever I'm doing today as a long-term goal? And I think that's something, if you guys can wrap your head around, it's going to help create a better space, a better path, like a better tunnel for you guys, because I know it's hard and you can feel frustrated as an entrepreneur and as an artistic entrepreneur, right? Where things are changing daily. I know in the city of Miami, everyone was very excited because businesses were opening again. And now there's an 8 p.m. curfew. So, just like that, guys, things are changing and we need to prepare ourselves mentally, physically, business-wise, to do those things. So, our next guest, I am very, very, very excited about. One, because she's my best friend, but two, I've been front row to see her business take off. I've been front row to watch it grow piece by piece, and over the past, is it 5 years? 5 years, I've seen her teach herself the skills of beading, teach herself the skills of photography, which is what she's going to share with you, teach herself the skills of utilizing Etsy, which we'll talk about as well. And all these things to me are so relatable for those of you who are interested in, rather than starting a website if you don't already have one like Ashley did, but you want to go the Etsy route. So that's why I wanted to kind of bring all these different avenues for you, because that means truly those possibilities are endless. Marcella is actually sitting front and center because she too herself has been struggling with taking pictures of her beautiful creations. Do you have any, Marcella, with you? You didn't bring one?
Yes, I did.
Okay, bring it. I want to show everybody. So, Marcella in her extra time started her own hobby, which turned into kind of like this beautiful creations as well. And then she turned to Lisa and said, can you help me with an Etsy store? And can you help me with the pictures? And all of these things, all these connections, all of these resources help you to kind of fast track your way to doing things. Let me see. Let me show you guys how cute. Look who's here. And you're not going to show them?
Oh.
You're not going to show them? Look.
I'm shy
She's Oh, how cute is she?
Well, this is one of them. Can you see it?
Yeah, they
The
can
front?
see. Yeah.
And it's a lot of crystals, because the crystals, when you hang them on a window, they give you rainbows, and that's a sign of hope. And all of them have a heart, because hearts means I love you. So when I feel that when a person sends something like this to somebody they love, they're sending them love and they're sending them hope. And then these are the little ones. I also make a lot of things. Go on my Instagram page. Is Mama's Enchanted Gifts. On Instagram, I've been posting them there. And just, I'm not as energetic as all of these awesome ladies that we've been watching today.
Don't say that. That's not true.
But I'm trying just like everybody else.
That's
and,
right.
And I just, mostly I just really, really, really enjoy making them. They make me feel good. They calm me down. They just bring me a lot of joy.
Look, you're
And,
blending in the background because of your shirt.
Oh,
So, well,
sorry.
thank you, Mama. We
Oh, I
love
forgot
you.
about my
Make
shirt
sure.
being green.
So, Marcella is one of those people, might be just like you, to tell you the truth, where she's struggling and trying to figure out the ins and outs of Etsy and how to photograph your art and all those things. So, our next presenter, like I said, can you please be careful? Okay, we're going to get her out of here because I don't want her to fall. Our next presenter, like I said, is not only my best friend, she's my sister wife. She holds my hand as we fly, which we haven't been flying lately. But as I was stating, she's going to share with us some tips, some tricks of photographing your products, how to make them look good, how to utilize things that you might already own, which is very important so that you don't have to run out to the store and buy every prop known to man. And then we'll talk a little bit about Etsy as well. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Lisa, the owner, creator of Zen Love Bliss. Come on, everybody say hi
Hey everyone.
to Lisa.
I hope everyone's doing well.
Yes. So you can see on the screen there, we put up some
I
pictures
see.
behind you.
Awesome.
And I will tell you, of course, I'm so proud of you because I watched you start Zen Love Bliss. And then instead of her always leaning on me, which I always tell her I'm here to help, you always figure it out. And she figured out Etsy all on her own. You figured out lighting and the best way to take pictures of your art all on your own. You always inspire me by bringing me different ideas and textures. Here, move a little closer so that you don't fall.
Okay.
Marcella already
good.
almost fell.
I'm good.
We're getting tight. So these are all the things that make me so proud of you. But I know that you can shine a light for other people who are struggling, because that's where they get hung up, right? So
Yeah.
they have this great idea, but they don't know how to take the next step.
To execute it, yeah,
So-
definitely.
So my first question to you is, you started an Etsy shop
Yes.
5 years ago, and Etsy has
Yes.
exploded since then.
Yes.
So in terms of now that you have a product and you go to Etsy, what's like your best advice to start with Etsy?
Start with Etsy. Well, photography, or learning to do photography for my jewelry, came as a necessity because I have beautiful daughters and they're all amazing photographers with SLR Canons and amazing cameras. But I would have to schedule an appointment to have them come and do a photo shoot, and it was time consuming and trying to coordinate everybody's schedules. So I needed something simple that I would be able to manage myself. If I woke up that morning and made a beautiful bracelet and I wanted to photograph it, I could do it immediately and then post to my Etsy. So that's how learning photography for myself came about. My advice to you for Etsy is to look at your product and then do a search for similar products. Take a look at those pages. Look at what you like about the photography for those products that are similar to yours and what you don't like. Look at their sales. Look at their banner, because everything on Etsy is first and foremost visual. You're going to stop on a page where the photography draws you in and wows you.
Yes.
So that's my first advice. There are other things you can look for while you're doing a search on Etsy, as far as hashtags, how they put the wording for their products. Because let's say, for example, a woman's bracelet, amethyst bracelet that I would make would be gorgeous women's amethyst purple bracelet. All of those words are going to make you more visible in that section of your jewelry or whatever. A lot of different shops come up on Etsy. Right now I'm competing with about 30,000 jewelry shops on Etsy. So you really have to make sure that what you're putting out there, that your photography is top notch. Otherwise, they're just going to click on buy. That being said, Etsy is a great beginner's platform. I didn't feel I was ready to start my own website. So it has a format that you can follow. And at first it's a little tricky, like everything, there's a learning curve. But once you get it, it's really not that difficult.
And Etsy has built in all the tools of like shipping programs and tags, and also to promote certain products. So for a beginner, you would recommend it, right?
Definitely. It's simple.
It's simple, and that's going to help some of you who already don't have a website and want to just test the markets before you jump full-fledged into building a website. Because as someone who runs multiple websites, they require a lot more maintenance, where Etsy is going to give you flexibility to, kind of.
Absolutely. It comes at a cost. You do pay. But in my view, it was minimal. It was a minimal risk. Other than having to think about starting a website and hiring someone, that was overwhelming for me.
Right.
I'm not very techie. I was born at a time that, no computers, all of that. So it was a little bit of a struggle at first, but I promise you, if you just are patient and take a little bit of time, you'll learn Etsy. It's really not difficult at all.
Well, in addition to Etsy, just getting your feet in the door, right? Like Lorena discussed a little bit that Etsy kind of forced her into like 10 products, which is good, because if it was one product, you could just try it. You'd probably not be incentivized to keep on going. At 10, that's work. That's 10 descriptions, 10 prices, 10 measurements and such. But I will tell you, as somebody who shops online, obviously for Silly Farm, somebody who is very socially involved, I will say that the pictures are actually one of the most important parts of pretty much any virtual business, right? Because, I will tell you, I help a company that sells spice, and they needed help with Instagram. So I started making these videos of like me seasoning chicken and, kind of like grilling it for them. And anybody who knows me knows I'm the worst chef in the world. From the picture, the chicken looks so juicy and so good. As soon as I turned off the camera and tasted it, I was like, and I literally tossed it in the bin. I was like, this chicken tastes like ugh. So, but the visual component of it is what sold, and he started seeing sales from it because visually that's what captivates people, especially if you can't try it on. So over the years, obviously you've learned the apps and such. So to start off and ask you, do you have a fancy camera and fancy editing?
Absolutely not. I use my iPhone. That is it. Like I said, I have daughters that have amazing cameras, but that wasn't working for me. It was too much for me to try and take a course in photography and learn. So Heather suggested try your iPhone. And I started playing around with it, and it has so many features now that allow you to do amazing photography. I photograph my jewelry either in my patio at home or outside. You do have to look at your product, the size of your product, the environment your product would be used in. my jewelry is small, so I have the ability to work in small settings and kind of control what I do. But if you're selling bling or any other craft earrings, anything that you're making at home, it's amazing. I promise you.
Well, see, that, guys, is encouraging in itself because, you know, most of us think, okay, we have to run out and buy a brand new Canon and then learn how to use it and then learn how to use Photoshop. And the truth of the matter is that the Apple iPhone replaced and almost put Kodak completely out of business because it's such a great tool to have, and it's in most people's pockets. Samsung phones have equally amazing cameras. Yep. And now with all these photo editing apps, the possibilities are truly endless, right?
Absolutely. I use PicStitch.
Okay.
I used to use it almost entirely all the time. Now I just basically use my iPhone, and because I post mostly through Instagram, I find that I get a lot of sales and revenue from Instagram to my Etsy. My Etsy shop is linked in my bio, so I promote my bracelets on Instagram, and then people just go to my Etsy and purchase through there. Sometimes I'll have people purchase straight through Instagram, but it's a great way to advertise your Etsy shop.
And so tell us, so you're using PicStitch. So, you know, talk a little bit about like some of the products, because behind us, as you can see, these are some of the shots that Lisa has taken with her cell phone. This is not like she didn't pay someone to come out and do, you know, photo shoots. She's been able to, using just her iPhone, some props that she has at home, and natural sunlight, to be able to create these beautiful images, right? That feel natural, that feel connected. And I'm always pushing her, saying, you need to sell some of these images to stock photo, because do you have the rose quartz one, Ashley? Look at this one behind us. This is one of my favorite images because she knows I love rose quartz.
Yes.
But the hearts in general, the pink, everything. But as you can see, pictures like this speak so much to you, right? Like they feel very personal. And when you take those pictures as opposed to buy them, sometimes you're able to pick up the angles and the ideas and the message you're trying to convey. So in looking at this picture in front of us, how did you accomplish going from the before to the after?
Okay, so the photo on the left was taken in my patio. I pick a background, and you can pretty much use anything you have at home. Granted, I'm doing jewelry, so it's a small item. But like this is a tray that I got on clearance at like Joann's. You can use just stock paper from Michael's and Joann's. There's so many different backgrounds. You can coordinate them with the colors in your product. Super easy. They're like 25 cents a sheet to maybe 75 cents a sheet. Not a big investment, and it's a great return, because coordinating colors with your product and photography just kind of completes everything and gives you a beautiful visual. So in the first image, I just took the photo in my patio, and then on the next image, all I did was, when I opened up the photo on my iPhone and you click on edit, on the bottom bar, there's like it looks like a little wand that's an auto. You can click on that and it'll do its own auto adjustment, but I usually don't use that. If you go next to it, you're gonna see different little tabs for brightness, contrast, saturation, and if you start playing with that and you find that you wanna keep the product true to its color, you don't wanna make a pink color purple, you know, you have to be honest as far as what you're selling, especially with jewelry. But you can adjust the lighting to brighten up the photo, which would actually be what the product looks like in person. It's just when you don't have artificial light and you're relying on lighting from a patio, and depends on the time of day where the lighting is, you can manipulate it to make amazing photographs. And then as far as small items, I think it's important to crop in. You want to make a connection. You want to feel like you're almost wearing that bracelet, or what it would feel like to be wearing that bracelet. So I know if you have larger objects, it gets a little trickier, like Marcella does hanging pieces. Sometimes it's better to do live videos if you have a larger piece, as long as you need to play with a light, natural light, and find a point where it's enhancing your product.
I think that's amazing, beautiful advice. And something that I would add to it is, with Etsy being, like you said, you're competing with 30,000 stores, right? So that's a lot of competition, right? But at the end of the day, what draws people in, I believe, is your photographs, also your message. So when I'm shooting or when I'm considering a product that is for somebody, I always think it's good and important to show happy people with your product, and you can get those pictures through requests for reviews. Like, you can ask people to send you pictures. I mean, Lisa has me and pretty much every single person at Silly Farm. We don't leave home without our Zen Love Bliss bracelets. Pretty much everyone here does. So we're always walking, visual representations of how happy your bracelets make us. But even with regards to Lorena, I think having beautiful images staged are great, but I also believe intertwine them with actual happy people with your products, because then there is an authenticity attached to it, and your product is not like a hammer. Your product is not something that people take and put in a drawer and forget. Like, it's a beautiful product, and seeing it on people really does make a difference. And if you have a beautiful model like your daughters, you can ask them to just take some pictures at a park one day, and all those things really help.
Yes, when you're entering your product on Etsy, it gives you an option to up to, I believe, 6 or 7 photos, maybe more. So it is important that if you have the time, you show your product staged on someone's wrist or their neck, in different views, so that connection continues. The person can see themselves. Oh, look how pretty it looks on her wrist. It would look beautiful on my wrist. You have to give them those options so that they can connect and then choose your product.
That's great. You guys, that's great advice. You think about an Etsy store, and if you're starting off with 10 products, but you have 10 times 6 pictures per one, that's 60 photos, right? That you potentially have to captivate your audience. That's an important tool to utilize, right? Absolutely. Because it's 60 times the opportunity to connect with somebody through your images. And being that she's doing a lot of this photo editing directly from her phone, that means anybody can do it right now.
Absolutely.
Anybody. Like, it doesn't have to be like you own all these professional things, but speak a little bit about the angles that you take your pictures from, because I will tell you, I'm in the studio, and when I take certain pictures, I get those weird shadows, and then it's dark and such. So I know that you're photographing a lot outside, which for color I do as well, because you get real color. But what about you? Like, here's my phone. When you're taking a picture of your bracelets, how do you do it?
If I'm doing in my patio, if I'm just doing a flat lay, I usually come up from the top so that I don't crop really close at first. I will do the cropping later. Sometimes I like to get really close, so I will angle the camera so the bracelet is almost flat right in front of the camera, that way. Like I said, mostly you have to play with the light, because I've tried going outdoors in the shade, outdoors in the sun. I did a shoot oceanside for some crystals. I think they're on, I don't know if they're
I
they're
don't
on
think I have the oceanside
It's
one.
okay. But it was a blind shoot. Like, the sun was so bright that I really couldn't even see while I was photographing. I was just trying to figure out how the light was going to reflect through the crystals, and it ended up being amazing. So more than anything, you have to experiment with your product. Take it into the shade and the sunlight. I do most of my work now in a patio, because I figured out between the time of like 8 and 10 a.m. the light is perfect for me.
That's great advice, guys. I mean, especially for some of you who are have products that you want to photograph, and you keep on struggling, and it's discouraging you, because that happens too, right? Like, I know Marcella, for example, has these beautiful hanging crystals, and unless you capture the beauty of them, you don't feel as excited about putting it out there, right? But like Lisa said, the beautiful thing is doing live video now is showing what a connection that creates. That's why Snapchat and TikTok especially Snapchat became so popular, because it was live, and the live component and the moving component made people feel that there was more real to it. So that's another good way, obviously, to photograph your products.
Absolutely. Natural light works. I do. Not on Etsy, on Instagram. I do my stories, and usually when I do a story on Instagram, that jewelry will sell right away. And I don't make a lot of one. I mostly do custom jewelry, so it's important for me to show it once I make it, and they usually sell right away. If it's a live video in natural light, people can see it up close. They can see the natural colors of the gemstones. And honestly, I sell my bracelets like in 5 minutes from posting when I do live videos on Instagram.
The video component is so huge. So another thing that I would like you to a little bit touch on is in terms of so you're photographing jewelry and you're bundling it with things, right? So you've created, obviously, if she's doing a post on the rose quartz, she created it along with the crystal and to make it more themed, right?
Right.
So would you suggest for someone who, say, made like a painted sign, or somebody who has something that's not crystal related, would you recommend also theming it with like different things in its nature, or leave it by itself?
I would do both. I think that when you bring in elements, like let's say we're doing an art card, if you put in some paint pots or some brushes or anything that enhances that connection, that reminds someone why they want your product. They feel like an artist. They see the brushes. They see, oh, I'm an artist. I could make something as beautiful as this. You always want to draw in features into your photography that will make a connection. You also do that with text. For instance, because I sell Zen jewelry or spiritual jewelry or healing jewelry, I put a lot of quotes like Rumi or poems, because people connect with the words as well as with the photography. And when you combine both, it's a win-win.
This is great advice, guys. This is actually so incredibly helpful because Marcella's sitting here, she's thinking, and also just the way that I've approached for so long shooting our products. Like sometimes I get so overwhelmed with like, I don't like the angle, I don't like the lighting. And sometimes it's just switching things up just a little bit and taking time and investment in your time to find the optimal time to photograph, to find the optimal angles. Like she said, instead of, I'm always taking pictures from this or taking pictures from this, instead of saying like, let me restructure it, let me rethink it and take a new picture.
When I first started, I would see on Instagram everybody had these little white photo boxes, and they had light rings, and I thought, we have that at work, let me try. And to be honest, it didn't work for me. I found that it created a lot of shadows, and it kind of made my jewelry look a little too antiseptic, which I didn't want it. I wanted to be organic looking. So, but those light boxes and those light rings may work great for your product. So you do have to experiment. And if you don't have those, they have these really small little light rings that clip onto your phone. I've used those, just depending where you put them, the light shines, and because I'm using crystals and gemstones, it gets a little tricky because they're very reflective, and sometimes you can even see the light ring on the crystal. But if you play around with those, and they're really inexpensive, you can get them on Amazon for under $10. You just have to experiment a little.
This is great advice, guys. And then if you'll put up the ones with Vanessa's necklaces. So, Lisa inspired so many of us in our office, mainly because, you didn't come from a background of like technology and Photoshop and video. Like Lisa came to me as a FedEx driver for over 20 years, correct?
25 years.
With kind of no experience of saying, I know how to run a business, I know how to photograph myself. So it was amazing to watch her on this journey, go from zero to an amazing amount in such a short time. So she's inspired so many people in our office, and the beautiful hanging art behind us is another one. Many of you know her, Vanessa of FABAtv. You inspired her to create her own shop and her own jewelry. So as you can tell, the knotted, but it still incorporates, it's Moon Siren Treasures, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make sure to get that
Moon
up.
Siren Treasures.
But Lisa also helped her with this image just to show you guys how a little bit of lighting can change the entire image, right?
Absolutely. And that's just a fern from my yard and a couple of crystals and a white paper background. Vanessa came to me because she was struggling with her photography. Her jewelry was very unique and organic, so she wanted to show it the way it was. So I kind of gave her a really quick course. I showed her pick stitch. I showed her what I did on the iPhone. And now if you go on her site, you'll see she does amazing photography. And she does a lot of live videos as well.
See, guys. I mean, this wasn't too hard, right?
No.
Okay,
not at
Lisa
all.
was worried too. Everyone gets so nervous to be interviewed, and I tell them this is the most important part about promoting your business is getting out of your comfort zone, right? Because naturally, there's all things that we like to do individually. Like you like to put your beautiful crystals together and photograph them, and I like to play behind the scenes and create things. But putting yourself out there is a instrumental part of growing your business, because for those of you that didn't already know Lisa, which is probably impossible, now you can go to her Instagram, which is a great place to see the newest stuff, because
Yes.
you're able to Instagram faster than Etsy, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So just before you go, for your advice in terms of somebody who's running a Etsy shop and an Instagram, would you advise them to update them at the same time? Are you finding equal amounts of sales and energy by posting on Instagram and then adding it to Etsy later? Would you suggest for someone who's just getting started to run that process?
Because I'm like so many of you that I juggle working at Silly Farm, I juggle just my personal life and doing my Etsy and Instagram. It varies day to day. What I find most important is that you stay consistent and post. If you can post to Instagram and immediately post to Etsy, it's great, because if somebody sees your sale or your photography for your product on Instagram, they can immediately go and purchase. But I've had times where I've just posted on Instagram and people will contact me directly through a message and send me PayPal or Cash App. So it's the most important thing is to be consistently promoting and posting your products.
It's true. Consistency is everything, guys. I mean, that's one thing that's helped me reach a level of success on YouTube was no matter how hard times got tough, I always posted. Even if it's a little something, I went from really long videos to shorter videos, something, because the consistency is what creates your audience. Absolutely. And then sooner or later, you can do things a little different. You don't have to be as, committed to every 15 minutes posting. But this shows you that, guys, how much was this one? I want to steal this every other day.
I know, it's beautiful. That was on sale for probably like $5.
Okay. To invest in some watercolor paper. This one is so beautiful. Ooh la la. Okay, so to invest in this paper, you want to make sure that it has a matte finish to it. Okay, guys.
So
Definitely not reflective, especially if you're shooting something that's reflective. Yeah. But investing in something like this is $5, can help you to create. There's over 100. Oh wow!
And then this is a tip that actually my daughter gave me the other day, and I was like, "What? How did I not know that?" So on your phone, if you go into your notes on the bottom, there's a little camera. If you click on that camera, it'll say scanner.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. So it automatically scans whatever item you have or photography you have and uploads it to your phone. So for example, like this, it's blank in the middle and has the crystals on the side. I can then take it into PicStitch, add font, and create another ad for my Instagram or for my Etsy.
Holy moly, I'm like super mind blown right now. I did not know about that feature.
Yep, I almost forgot to tell you. Yes, you can scan from your iPhone.
Holy cow. Well, make sure Lisa is going to go over there on her iPad and she's going to link her Instagram and her Etsy shop. I should have had it behind me. I apologize. Thank you, Lisa. Everybody give Lisa a round of applause.
Thanks.
She was so nervous and I didn't want her to. I'm going to move this over. I was like, no, girl. We're going live, okay? Okay, so Marcella's behind the scenes saying, I have questions. Okay, so see, guys, I hope that that you guys have been able to take some wisdom, some jewels, some inspiration, some motivation from today's Power Hour. We're not done yet, okay? We are not done. I know. I'm over here like, this is a long day, but I'm still so excited and amped up, because if it means that even 5 of you, right now we have about 71 people watching on this live stream, and even if 5 of you take something from this and turn it into something great, something that's going to feed your family, something that inspires and motivates you, your kids, that to me is like achieving success. Because I truly believe that in order to receive a blessing, you have to first be a blessing. And that goes for our kids as well. As a mother of boys, they're not really into face painting. So, at first I was like all down in the dumps about it, right? Like the kids that I had to, make my boobs go lower for and give me this little belly, they don't want to support me. But the truth of the matter is, I watch them make their own YouTubes now. And they're so excited to make YouTubes, and I hear the things that they say in front of the camera, and I say, where did they learn that? And they learned that from me. So remember, your kids are watching. If you can start a business, you can show them that at a young age, they can use their skills to start a business as well. So, it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving, but you have to start, and you have to do it, and you have to commit, and you can't just get scared all the time, because without results, there's no way to measure it, right? So with that in mind, we are getting into our last segments. So I'm going to set up for the Zoom. So for everybody who wants to join the Zoom party to paint along, what I'm going to do is I have one last interview for you guys to see. I don't want to say save the best for last, because that's not true. But the SCORE is a free complimentary service by the SBA. And it is a group of many of them are retired CEOs. And if you call SCORE and you set up with them, then you get your own counselor. Now, for those of you that are entrepreneurs and you're struggling to know what to do next, if you're an entrepreneur and you need help with taxes, loans, the PPP loans, small business funding, everything, just connecting with other female entrepreneurs, connecting with people in your industry. That's what SCORE does. And it's, like I said, an underutilized resource that I think more people, if they knew about it, they would take advantage of it. So this particular SCORE counselor, I'm so grateful for. One, because instead of sugarcoating everything, she always helps me come from a very objective place. And as somebody who's trying to grow their business, even to this day, 15 years in, I always have questions and I have struggles, and there's days that I feel really down in the dumps and other days that I feel much better. But it's nice to know that you can have a free counselor or just somebody who can help you through these tough times, remind you that they're not germane to you, but also guide you with knowledge. So Janine is a fabulous resource. I think you're going to enjoy this interview, and she's also hosting a free webinar on the 29th of this month. It's at 6 p.m. It's going to be amazing. It's complimentary, so you'll be able to get a little bit more from Janine, and also her information is on here. So if you are in an area that has a local SCORE chapter, she can connect you. If not, she is doing virtual meetings, which is a beautiful free resource. I can't stress that enough, because this whole program was dedicated to helping you invest in your success almost on a budget. Because most of us are very tight right now, right? We've lost some of our income. We don't know what's going to happen next. We're uncertain in what the future holds. But these are all tools at your disposal that you can utilize to help yourself grow and, like I said, invest in your success. In addition to that, I want you to join FABAtv. The only way I'm able to produce Power Hours, the only way I'm able to bring you new content and show you guys and inspire you is through FABAtv. We have great specials going on right now. There's a 6-month special for only $99. That's like not even a haircut, okay? That's like 2 pedicures. For 2 pedicures, you can get over 500 classes. So what a great deal that is. So definitely join the FABAtv family. We have new classes coming up from Elena. As I edit her classes, I'm like drooling, okay? Like, she's helped me improve my roses immediately. I have Laura Penick. She is incredible. Every single amazing artist who has inspired me and motivated me over this 15-year journey is on FABAtv. Ginny, Mateo, Nick, Brian, Karen Sawyer. We have new classes from Karen coming up, Miss Sparkles, Athena. Literally, there's like 80 teachers right now. So Lynn Jameson, I miss you so much. You were such an inspiration for me from day one. One of the first teachers, Mark Reed, you name it. The greatest of the great are on FABAtv. Avi, have you guys been seeing what Avi's doing lately? He's so amazing. Like, he's like, your eyes start watering from watching him. So for those of you that are just joining us, thank you for being here. I'm so happy. I hope you're taking bits and pieces. What I'm going to do is you're going to watch Janine's interview, and I'm going to get the Zoom set up, because then for those of you that want to paint along and be seen on the background, I'm going to project your images up there. You can log into the Zoom, get your products ready, turn on your camera, because I can't see if you don't have a camera on, and paint along with Elizabeth Gale. You're going to learn how to do the cutest cupcake card. And for those of you that have arty cakes and split cakes, you're going to love this paint along, because she shows you how to get that swirl effect, how to get those kind of shadows so that it doesn't look so flat, and how to create a beautiful birthday card that you can take and send to somebody. And you don't have to make it a birthday card. It has a cupcake with a candle, so it could be, congratulations, COVID is over. I don't know. You can do whatever you want. Just take off you can put like a straw instead. Put happy hour. I don't know. Whatever you want to do, I want you to join us. I want you to get your paints out. It's a great way to kind of take that energy down, because right now, after hearing everything going on in this power hour, you're excited, right? You have a million ideas going back and forth, and you're like, yes, I'm going to start my t-shirt business. I'm going to, photograph everything in my house. I'm going to not cook dinner for the rest of the year. So this paint along is going to help you just kind of like take it down, reevaluate, think about what your next move is going to be, and hopefully get you in a creative mind space. So I'm going to post the Zoom link right now in the chat. I'm going to put it on the forums. Please join the Zoom, get your paints ready. I'll have Elizabeth welcome you guys. And for now, I want you guys to enjoy my mentor, who can also be your mentor, Janine Banks. Welcome to another awesome edition to the Power Hour. I have a very special guest, someone who I'm very proud of and very honored to share with you guys, because she's helped me in many ways. As a business owner, I've told you guys before that you have to be your own cheerleader. And sometimes when you're feeling down in the dumps, to have somebody that can offer advice and can help you to rethink and re-strategize, for me, that's like a magical unicorn for me anyways, because it's not that easy. You can go to Google, and Google is a beautiful resource, but it's nothing like having somebody who can talk to you and guide you. And for me, that person is you. Janine Banks. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell them, a little bit about what you do, but I wanted to just, give you that introduction, because like I said, guys, having someone in your corner, above and beyond just say, your best friend, or having somebody who can really guide you and give you some of the things you want to hear and don't want to hear, is such a priceless tool as an entrepreneur. So I encourage you guys to listen, to follow Janine, because she's going to have a webinar on the 29th next week. And I want to make sure everybody marks that on their calendar, and I'll put all the links and everything. But more important, Janine, let them know about yourself. Let them know.
Okay, well, Heather, it's just amazing to be here today. So thank you so much. And I'm really excited to get to know your group and your population. And as Heather said, it really is all about what I call a brain trust, about putting a lot of people around you that you trust, people that come from different walks of life, and certainly those that have been entrepreneurs and have walked in your shoes and understand. And, I always say we're not born with it. We have to learn that. We have to learn it through our experiences and people that we meet. And so in my business life, I am Executive Vice President for Lloyd Staffing. We're a national staffing company, and we provide opportunities for jobs in healthcare, corporations, and all spectrums. And then I volunteer. I'm a certified mentor with an organization called SCORE. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but its population are entrepreneurs. So I get to work with people like you every day. And I also serve on a few boards. So I try to do what I can to give back. And I'm happy to be here today.
Well, I'm super just grateful that you're here. And I know that after people watch this interview, they're going to be very excited and hopeful because, again, being in an industry, being a female entrepreneur, there's multiple levels of challenges, right? Like aside from just every day, most of us are wives, most of us are mothers, most of us are grandmothers. So we have a full plate in addition to running our business. And, you know, it would be, you know, asinine to think that they don't all affect each other, right? So like when you're having a tough day as a parent, you take that to work with you and it kind of trickles over. So, you know, one thing that I'm noticing within our industry is that in one fair swoop, the entertainment industry came to a screeching halt. And I know that it's not just us, but our industry heavily and only depends on public gatherings and events and parties. And that was the first thing to say, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So I'm witnessing the emotional pressure and stress falling on artists because our industry is at a standstill. And now, you know, we're all kind of saying to ourselves, what do we do? Do we pivot? Do we give up? Do we go and apply for a job, a 9 to 5? And for many of us as entrepreneurs, that's a hard thing to do. So, you know, being that you're part of SCORE, what can you say in terms of, or what advice can you give to entrepreneurs to say like, hang on before you jump ship, you know, just some words of encouragement before they do?
Sure. And, you know, just so that you know, every week I'm meeting with entrepreneurs from all different industries. And you're right, the creative world has been hit hard, but really virtually every category and industry, you know, regardless, everybody has suffered an effect. So the most important thing I want to say to everyone is you have the heart of your business inside of you. That I call, you know, that heartbeat, that pulse of what it is that you do that makes you special, that has differentiated you in the marketplace. That is where you need to focus and go back to your beginnings of why did you get into this industry? What do you love about this industry? And you need to take some time, you know, mind, body, spirit. I'm a firm believer in that, of, you know, start to put the worry in its compartment, start to be able to get to a place where you can creatively think for yourself versus being on autopilot. You know, this is the way I've always done it. And so I can't do it that way anymore. And I'm getting frustrated. Right. Number two, I would say that you have to share a little bit, you know, maybe avail yourself to people that you trust to talk about it, to talk it through, or come to an organization like SCORE, where most of the mentors are retired executives. I'm one of the few that is still in the workforce. However, they come from a wealth of experience. We have all been entrepreneurs. I had my own not-for-profit at one time. I also had an IT organization that I built from the ground up. You know, we have all walked the walk. So come to us, talk to us. The services are complimentary. It's part of the SBA, so there's never a charge. And everything that we talk about would be confidential. And then lastly, I would say is, you know, that passion that inspired you to begin your business, start to look at that business as what I call a driver. Think about, anticipate the future, because even if this situation didn't happen, Heather, we always have to be in a position to bring our businesses to the next level, whether that be expanding our business or even cutting those services back and concentrating in a particular area. So how can you take your creativity and, as you use the word, pivot it into other areas? It could be taking on maybe a temporary position in the creative world in a different way, keeping yourself in the workforce, keeping yourself out there while still maintaining your entrepreneurial work. That's okay as well. But the bottom line is doing nothing or worrying isn't going to advance you that next step. So don't look for the large leaps. It's small steps and that are purposeful and intentional that will help get you to the next level.
It's funny that, well, not funny, but it just kind of is like deja vu for me, because I'll give you guys a little background. I was working on a project, or playing around with the idea of a project, and I brought it to Janine, and I was so hung up and like almost on a cliff of either saying I'm going to give up or I'm going to go forward, because I wasn't sure which way to go. And Janine said, Heather, instead of feeling the need to get 100% done right out of the gate, you can take things in steps, and the same thing is the same principles I like to just kind of convey to them is, if you need to pivot now and you say to yourself, I'm at a breaking point between either going to get a 9-to-5 or using the rest of this time that I have, or unemployment that I have, to take baby steps into the next thing, it's going to help you, right? Because so many of us get hung up on if it's all or nothing. And that all or nothing mentality for me can be very defeating. I know I probably would have wasted a ton of money and time if I would have just been focused on the all or nothing. But guys, make sure you listen to this advice, because it helped me and saved me time and money and put me on a better path, right? Because nothing is worse than spending a whole bunch of time doing the wrong thing. So I absolutely am grateful for that advice. I have a couple of questions for you, and I wanted you to kind of elaborate on how people can find out about SCORE. Many of our viewers are international, but for the ones who are in the United States, SCORE is an amazing, like you said, complimentary resource provided by the SBA. So are they able to get assistance with, say, some of the PPP money or the loans? Like, it's very intimidating for someone who's always been like a one-person show to get this information. And sadly, if you Google a lot of it, there's so much, and it can kind of deter you, right? Like if you're scared of numbers or scared of loans. So is that like explain a little bit of the services that SCORE can provide?
Okay, so for the majority, there are certified mentors like myself. We have over 10,000 certified mentors throughout the United States, and there are about 350 chapters of SCORE. So my chapter is called SCORE of South Palm Beach. If you were to go on the internet and look for that, you'll find our website. But the SCORE national website has tremendous resources. There are articles, there are videos, there are webinars, there are resources for everything that you could think of. And nothing really precludes you from reaching out to them. You can go to your local chapter, you can go to SCORE National, so no matter where you live, you can tap into it. I would also say on the PPP, in my chapter, we have partnerships with a few financial institutions who, we are so grateful to them because they helped a lot of our mentees during this time period. And I believe they're going to be still doing that until August 8th, I think it is. So PPP loans are still available, and who knows if that'll be extended. But banks of all types, financial institutions, credit unions, these are all resources that you can go to. But you will need to have a business plan. And it doesn't necessarily have to be huge and comprehensive, but I have an outline that I could also share if you would like, that will help you to put to paper your vision for your company, what the financial forecast looks like, what it was, what you expect it to be, and then the resources, of course, that you need. So there's a lot of funding and different kinds of things available. SCORE doesn't give loans, however. We will guide you to go to different resources to try to pitch for that. And sometimes that's really not what people need. What they need is to sometimes just be better able to manage the business that they have under the current situation that they're in. So it really depends. Every person is unique, every business is unique, and where they wish to go. So SCORE is one of those things that, you can make that call today and set up an appointment to meet with a certified mentor. And now all of our mentoring is just like this on Zoom. So it's easy. It's so easy. And, we'll try to match you up with mentors that either have been in your business or a relatable business. But I will tell you that, when I first started mentoring, I said, well, you got to put a square peg in a square hole, right? So if I've been in IT, I'm going to meet with IT people and so on. I have met with every type of entrepreneur, and there is always something to share. So I really want to give your viewing audience hope and understand that it's just about taking that step. With every step you try, you open yourself up to the possibilities. And this quote that I have behind me about successful people, I really believe in that. It's really about successful habits. So I'm sure everyone who's watching has experienced levels of success at different times in their business, as well as challenges that they've overcome. And it's the habits that you
We were doing so good, guys. I think that sorry guys, give me one moment. Make sure that everything is working properly. Give me one moment. Okay. All right. It is back live again. I have no idea why the stream just quit out. But so I was in the middle of Janine's interview. So what I'm going to do, because I have Elizabeth Gale waiting with a Zoom group on one side, so I want to make sure that we get started on that. Lisa, there's an admit button. Do you see right there, that blue one on Zoom? where it says, yeah, if you'll admit that person. Okay, so I am so sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. The stream cut out in the middle of her interview. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a paint along with Elizabeth Gale. I'm very excited. I'm going to add her to the screen in a moment. For those of you that want to paint along and be projected behind me, join our Zoom group. The information is in the chat on how to log in. Just paint along. I promise you it's like therapy for the soul. And after her, I'm going to replay Janine's interview. And I'm very sorry, I have no idea what happened, but you're gonna love her. You'll want to stick around for it. So just give me 1 second and I'm gonna bring Liz on so that you guys, Elizabeth, I'm sorry, she said people won't know me as Liz, and I don't know why I thought it was Liz. Somebody tagged you one time, but that's okay. The point is, last month I was so inspired by her cards that she's been painting and posting. Besides, her face painting art is magnificent. I saw she's been painting cards for birthdays and such, and I was so inspired by it. So I decided to host a contest on FABAtv about sending like hand-painted cards to brighten someone's day. And we had about 30 people who joined. So we've been sending cards left and right. Everybody's been receiving them. Don't forget to post your entry. And it just made my day because it made the world and just a little bit more colorful. So I asked Elizabeth if she would host a paint-along, and she said yes. And I think you guys are going to love this card. I think it's beautiful. You can share it with your kids. You can put it in the mail for someone else. But I do want to introduce you to Elizabeth. So just give me 1 second to head back over there so I can get her on the screen. And thank you guys again for joining me. For anybody who wants to join our Zoom so you can be on the screen, please join us. Turn your camera on and let's paint together. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, hold on. Let me get this going. Let's pray that I do this correctly. I'm learning too. There's no John, so I'm like, okay. Give me 1 second, everybody. And then we're gonna pray that you can hear us. And I'm gonna go full screen. Okay. Let me make sure. You can hear me, right, Elizabeth? Yes. Okay, let's pray that we can hear you. This one's okay. There we go. Now I think you can hear me, right? Hold on. Ooh, Okay, can everybody hear me? Liz, can you hear me? Can you talk? No, she can't hear. Okay, so just wave hi. All right, she can hear me. You just, so let me give everybody here, we'll turn this down for a second. Okay. All right, guys, this is the amazing Elizabeth Gale. Wave hi. Unfortunately, I have no idea why we can't hear her audio, but times like this, I miss John the most. So you guys are going to get to paint along with her. Hold on, let me turn that one off. She can hear me, too much stuff going on at one time. Okay, so she's gonna give you sign language hello because unfortunately, she's unable, we can't hear her, but she's been such a wonderful part of this program because you're going to see her demonstration and her paint along. And for those of you that want to paint along, I'm going to put you up on the screen. You'll be in the background just so that you can just be encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. I hope to have way more of you on FABAtv, and I promise to get the audio working by the next time. Hopefully John will be back in the studio and help me understand what I did wrong. So anyways, without further ado, I am going to play Elizabeth's video right now. And I hope you guys have a paintbrush ready, and make sure to connect with her on Facebook, on Instagram, on everything, because she's incredible. Spotlight her. No, it's not that. It's that we're running through a different program. Okay, guys, so thank you, Elizabeth. You are the best. I cannot wait to see you again. All right, hold on. Let me send you over. Let me clear these. Sadly, what happens? Okay, here we go.
Okay, so hopefully you can see okay. I brought these cards from a craft shop, my local craft shop, and they were £5 for a pack of 50. Obviously with the envelope, and which I think works out at about $6 something, so they're not expensive. And this is the sort of thing I've been painting. So I asked the person when they asked for a card, asked them for what sort of theme they want, and this one they wanted Baby Yoda. Oh, so cute. So I paint the main bit of the theme in the middle, and then a bit of one stroke up the top, and this area here I use for where I'm going to put the name, so if they want it personalised, or if they want a message, like get well soon, or whatever they want, I'll put that up the top. And then you can see I'm using all of my face paints, all the same supplies that I would normally use face painting. So stencils, all the line work, I use all the same brushes. So got a flat brush, a 1/2 inch, and a number 2 brush, and I don't know if I'm going to use that one, but and a filbert brush. And then I'm going to use my star stencil and some one strokes, so you can see there. Woo! And usual black and white for outlining and highlights, and then a few just plain colours as well for other little bits. I'm going to use, so this one I'm going to do a cupcake, a birthday cupcake. And I painted quite a lot of cupcakes now. Okay, so I'm just going to load that up. And the cards soak up the water quite quickly, so I generally make it a little bit wetter than I would normally if I was painting on the skin. So let's move that out of the way so you can see. So I'm going to start with the cupcake case at the bottom. Then I'll just outline where I'm going to put it. So it's going to go in the middle. And then a scoop, so pressing down, and then I'm just scooping around the bottom. Like that, and then I'm going to do it on the same side, on the other side the same. There. And make it slightly stripy effect. Just pull down there like that. You can just go over it until you get it how you want it. Like that. There we go. So that's going to be the cupcake case part of it. And then got another one stroke, so this is going to be a pink icing swirly cupcake. So the same again with my 1/2 inch brush, and I'm just going to load up some of this lighter pink part. And this has been, I was just trying to rack my brains when everything sort of stopped over here and we weren't allowed to paint. And I'm one of those people who likes to paint all the time, and I'd usually be out most weekends painting. So it was a bit of a shock for me not to be able to get out and do it. So I was racking my brains, what can I do? What can I paint? And one of my, so I'm just going to do this bit around here. So just a scoop around like that for the cupcake icing bit. One of my customers was asking, oh, could you send my daughter, she's really sad that you can't get to her, you know, I had some parties booked. My daughter's really sad that you can't get to her birthday party. So I said, oh, I could send her some bling in the post. And I said, oh, no, I'll send her a card. I'm really sorry I can't make it, you know. And then I was going to buy a card, and I thought, actually, maybe I'll paint a card. And then it just kind of went from there, really. And then I put a few on my Instagram, and lots of people messaged me and said, oh, could you do us a card? Yeah, it's just been really fun. It's been great for keeping my skills going. And actually having a point to painting. So it's all very well saying, well, you must practice every day, but if you haven't got the motivation to do it, if there's no point to painting, then it's really hard to pick up your brush and get on with it. But if you've got to post these cards off at a certain date because they've got a birthday coming up or something, then yeah, it makes it easier to get going with it. So this is just the icing, and you can just keep going. I just keep going over until you've got lots of layers, swirly layers. It's kind of like that, so we'll just even up that side a bit. There we go. And yeah, it's nice to have something to put on your social media pages other than pictures of my kids, which I'm sure people don't want to see all the time. And my kids don't want to be painted all the time either. I'm getting a bit bored of it now, so it's nice to be able to paint something different. So now I'm going to use I've got just a red, and it's just going to be the cherry part, which is the bit that I've left blank there. So I've just got my finger dauber, and I'm just going to, one edge of it, in the darker bit of the one stroke, create a bit of depth. Is in there, so you see, okay, so that's going to go there. Just swirl it round a bit, like that. And in the same one stroke, I'm going to use a bit of the green for the stalk. This is, I also found that it's a great way to use up old one strokes, so you always get a bit left at each edge or a bit at the end. So using them, so they don't kind of make very good one strokes anymore, but it's a great way to use them up on these, painting things like this. So there's just like a long, almost like a teardrop shape for that bit. So this gap here that I've left is going to be the space for the candle. And just got a light purple. So I'm just going to fill that bit in there. just go back and fill in that bit with a bit of pink. Okay. Right, and then while that candle's drying, I'm going to do some stripes on that candle in on a darker purple, but while that's drying, I'm going to do what am I going to do? Oh, the flame. Come on, concentrate. Right, the flame. So if you've got a little a yellow and orange one stroke, you could do the flame in that, but I'm just going to use my number 2 brush and a yellow to do the flame shape. It's just a little one there. You don't want to go too high, because at this point we're going to put the one stroke over the top. And then a little bit of orange in the middle while it's still wet. Like that. There we go. I might just blend that in a bit. So then go back in with the dark purple. So just a few little stripes across. There you go, like that. Oh, try and get it a bit even. There we go. And now I've done all that, I'm going to outline it in black. And so I'm just using regular DFX black that you would, a waxy outlining paint. And my number 2 brush. And then yeah, just go ahead and outline all of your cupcake part. And just follow the swirls round like that. And I'm gonna, when I do this part, I'm gonna put some eyes on him or her. I'm not sure if it's it must be. I think it's a her. So I'll outline this part first. Hopefully you can see okay. And I'm just going to do 3 stripes down, so one in the middle, and then they get thinner at the bottom, and one there, and one that side, and then it's going to give me plenty of place to put 2 eyes and a little mouth. So the little eye's going to go there like that. And the beauty of this, because it's not a body part or a real person, you can turn it right round and get to all the awkward bits. So swizzle it round, do those bits there. There we go, so that's going to be her eyes. And I'm just going to dry my brush off on a towel so I can do the mouth. So you want it nice and thin lines, so you can see. Like that, so she's nice and happy. There we go. I'm just going to finish doing the top part. So outline all the candle and the cherry bit as well. You can see there. Do the stalky bit and the flame as well. Oh, and do the stripes as well. So that's that bit. Now I'm going to get my flat 3/4 brush and another one stroke that complementary colours. just load this up, and this is going to go across the top, and then I like to bring it round to a point so it sort of comes round and connects in there, so it's kind of got a nice flow to it, if that makes sense. I must have painted quite a lot of these cards, and most of them been birthday cards. I think I've had some get well soon cards. I've done some thank you teacher cards recently, which has been nice to do something different. Haven't had too many weird themes, mostly cute kind of characters with little faces. I did have somebody ask for a Land Rover, so like a car theme, and I was like, oh, I don't know about you, but I'm not good at painting vehicles. So that was a bit of a challenge. Right, so again, because the card sucks up quite a lot of the water, I'm going to load this up probably a bit wetter than I would normally. Make sure I haven't got it all over my hand. And then, so you can see, so start at this top corner on the point and press down. And then I'm just dragging it round and making a nice curve there. And then up onto the end of the brush. And then like that. So you've got that nice kind of, and that's going to give you your space to write your message or your name. So that's that part. Now I'm going to do I might do the white highlights next. So another, again with my number 2 brush and my DFX white. I'll load that up and do some little highlights on the cherries. So move it so you can see. Bit in the top there, bit on the flame, down the candle, like that, and then in here, it just makes it look a bit more swirly whirly. And there. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like some of these, you know, shadows and highlights aren't totally correct, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's a bit of art, you know, as long as it looks neat and stuff, who cares? So, right. Now I'm going to do the line work part. So I'm just using my number 2 brush again and loading up with some pink shimmer paint. So I've got all mine depotted into different containers, so I'm just gonna, that's the colour I'm going to use. And I'm using all the same, so teardrop shapes, all the same things that I would use on my face painting for the cards. So it's going to start with a swirl that comes down and connects into there. Swirl that off. And then one of these shapes, I never know what these are called, so a long teardrop and then one of these weird, like connecting, almost like a butterfly wing shape. I don't know what they're called. And then a long teardrop in, and then another one, and then a flick out like that. And you can just tidy it up like that. And then the same on the other side. There you go, like that. And then it's going to, oh, I might do a little one there. There we go. And then I'm going to follow that through, so it's almost like it's going through the cupcake out the other side. So it's going to have another swirl coming off there like that. More teardrops. And there. Another one of those butterfly wing shapes. Some little ones just coming in there. Like that. And then so that she's not floating in mid-air, just going to do a few around the bottom. You can see how, if you keep reloading, you can see how quickly it sucks up the paint. There we go. And then if you've got so I might just see if this is what I do. I'm like, yeah, that looks good. Actually, no, I might just add a little bit more in. Sometimes I get a bit carried away and do too many. So I might just do a little one in there, which is going to connect up there as well. Just to hide that. Say if you've got a bit of a rough edge on the one stroke, you can just hide the edge with a bit of line work. And I've tried doing line work in different bigger brushes. I see people doing it with number 4, number 6 brushes, and they look amazing. But I just can't do it. Well, every time I come back to my number 2. I don't know why. I must keep practicing. So now I'm going to do another, some swirls coming from this point here. So again, I always start with a swirl. It gives you a good point to start from. And everything else can go around that. So in there. In, and then in there. And a few up here. There we go, like that. And I might just make that one double swirl. And why not? I'll do this one as well. And I'm going to do this one. There we go. So I'm going to leave it there today because I know I'll get carried away. But you could carry on doing more. I'm going to leave some space because I'm going to put some. I'm going to do some stencils. So I'm going to use this star stencil. And my finger dauber again, so I'm just going to spray that so it's not too watery, and then in with the same paint that I've been using to do the line work. Dry that off a bit so it's not too wet, make sure my stencil's dry. That's the only thing with the cards, in that skin's quite forgiving, so if you make a mistake you can wipe it off or you can go over it a bit better, but with a card you don't have that, so you've got to be really careful with your stencils. So go in there, just make sure it's not too wet. Like that, and then I'm going to do, I like to do more varied sizes. So another one there. And you can see like how quickly this paint gets on this stencil. So I found a good tip. So if you get a little smudge, I've got one of my kids' erasers, and it will just take the tiny little smudges off. Little tip there. And then a few more little stars in that gap there. There we go. And then one little one. I also get really carried away with these as well. Oh, just do one more, just do one more. And then I'm like, oh, I've gone too far. Right. And a little one there. Okay, and then another, I'm going to do a bigger one there, in that gap. And a little couple just coming off it there, because they're quite nice together, those ones. There we go. And it's smudged there, so I'm going to do another little one to cover that up. There we go. And possibly a couple up here. So let's do those ones there. There we go. So I'll leave it at that. And then inside, I normally do the stencils inside as well, so I'm going to do some in here. Let me just make sure my back of my stencil's clean. You can see. So I'm just going to use a little area of stars that look good together. So those ones. So that. I normally do it in the corner, but you could do it wherever you want really. But I normally do it in the corner so they've got plenty of space to write their message. And then I've just noticed I haven't given her any little eyes, so I'm going to go back in with some white and just, yeah, like you would doing dots, quite gloopy, and then 2 little eyes. And because she's a good girl, I'm going to give her some little pink rosy cheeks too. So just a little bit of pink shimmer in there, like that. And there we go. So at this point I would normally then write the name at the top, but I'll leave this blank for now. because I've got nobody to write it to today. But yeah, then I get you can get your black like a black calligraphy pen and write over the top once it's dry, or sometimes I just use you can use your black paint and your DFX and then just write your message over the top as well. And then the last thing I normally do is I would do a bit of stencil, same as I've done on the card, for the envelope. So just in the corner, I'll move it up so you can see. So just in the corner there, like that. There we go. And then when I put them on my Instagram, advertising them, kind of stick them like that with the card, with this envelope. It makes a really nice bright picture. And then when I finish the card, I would normally leave it for overnight maybe, so that it really dries off. And then if you spray it with a really thin layer of hairspray, go outside and spray it, hold it like that and spray it. It'll seal the paint, so when you put it in the post, it's not going to smudge. So this one, if I kind of scratched at it, it would smudge. Whereas this one, I've already done it, and you can see it doesn't come off. So, and it doesn't make the card too. The card doesn't bend. It doesn't get it too wet, so it works out quite well. So there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and tag me in and let me know if you have a go, and I'd love to see other people's creative art. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, let me know. Can you hear me? Let me know. Can you hear me? You would have to lower that volume down for me. Oh my gosh, how amazing was that? She can't hear me. For some reason, behind the scenes, guys, oh my goodness, there's just a lot that goes on with chords and inputs, and it's insane. And times like this, I really, really, really miss John, because he's the one who can kind of troubleshoot it. And I spent almost 13 hours on Saturday between editing these interviews and trying like inputs and everything. And let me tell you something, I was so proud of myself. I went home and treated myself to an entire bottle of wine because of that. So look behind me. This is just a glimpse of the fabulous artists who painted along with us, who broke out their brushes and listened to Elizabeth's voice. You write in the comments how beautiful and soft her voice was, right? That was like therapy for me. I told her she should do guided meditations because her voice was just so incredibly soothing for me. So thank you, Elizabeth. As I said, I am very excited to have her on FABAtv. She's going to work on some classes for us. She has taught, I believe, on the Face Paint Forum Shops channel, right, Elizabeth? You have, right? I don't know if she can hear me, but she's been an amazing force of just motivation and inspiration. And look behind me. Thank you to every person who turned on their camera, who painted along. Look at Marie. I'm so proud of you. That's what this art community is. So it's evening where Elizabeth is in the UK, and it's different time zones. Gio's in Texas. Donna, I love you so much. Thank you, Wendy. Marisol, Mexico's in the house. So, everybody who came on and joined us and painted and listened over the past couple of hours. This was all done with you guys in mind, just so that you guys can hopefully inspire yourself, feel good, make good habits. As I told you guys, unfortunately, Janine's interview got cut off, so I'm going to replay it for those of you that want to stick around. If you are part of the FABAtv family, every piece of the Power Hour will be loaded on the Power Hour page individually. So if you wanted to get Janine's information, or you want to connect with Lorena, or you have questions for Ashley, you can view those at any time. Those are there for you guys. So, and just follow Elizabeth's tutorial again. Like the idea of just putting a little bit of hairspray on there. What a game changer that was. Lisa teaching us about the scan feature. Today I learned a lot, and I hope that you did too. I love you, Fluff. My little sister is watching. She's such a great cheerleader. Hi, Rochelle. Hi, Nelly. Thank you, everybody, again for tuning into the Power Hour. Having you guys here with me makes me feel very loved and connected. So I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I'm going to turn it over to Janine so you guys can see the full extent of that interview, because SCORE is a great resource, as I told you guys. I want you guys to have a counselor. I want you guys to have somebody who can encourage you to grow your business. Even if you think, okay, it's small, you never know, the possibilities are there. We all can think of businesses that started in people's garage. It was this one little thing. I don't know if anybody knows. It's like a fruit that we eat, apple. Remember the story how it started and Steve was in, what is his name? No, not Steve. Steve Jobs and Alan, what is his name? Something with a W. Anyways, they started it in their garage. And if Apple can start in someone's garage, that means anything is possible for you guys. So thank you for joining me today at the Power Hour. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Please, if you can, if you painted along or you painted or inspired by Elizabeth, tag her in her picture. Tag her, let her know that you learned something from those one-stroke techniques. Reach out to all of our entrepreneurs, support them. Zen Love Bliss and Hearts for Jesus and Ashley, Ash's Window Splashes. If you're in the Virginia area, or buy a mask from Ashley. It's a good way to support our industry and support the arts. So I hope you guys had a fantastic afternoon. Please subscribe to FABAtv. It is www.fabatv.com, and you could subscribe for as little as $29, or you can get 6 months for $99 or a year for $199. So that is a great tool to invest in, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Let me take you over to Janine, and thank you so much, Elizabeth. You made my day. I'm not kidding you. I love painting along with you. We got to do that again, but with wine, full wine. All right, hold on, guys. Let me go to Janine. I want to talk to you guys. Hold on to these groups. Let me change that screen. Send it over. Guys, welcome to another awesome addition to the Power Hour. I have a very special guest, someone who I'm very proud of and very honored to share with you guys, because she's helped me in many ways. As a business owner, I've told you guys before that you have to be your own cheerleader. And sometimes when you're feeling down in the dumps, to have somebody that can offer advice and can help you to rethink and re-strategize, for me, that's like a magical unicorn for me anyways, because it's not that easy. You can go to Google, and Google is a beautiful resource, but it's nothing like having somebody who can talk to you and guide you. And for me, that person is you. Janine, thanks. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and tell them, a little bit about what you do, but I wanted to just, give you that introduction, because like I said, guys, having someone in your corner, above and beyond just say, your best friend, or having somebody who can really guide you and give you some of the things you want to hear and don't want to hear, is such a priceless tool as an entrepreneur. So I encourage you guys to listen, to follow Janine, because she's going to have a webinar on the 29th next week. And I want to make sure everybody marks that on their calendar, and I'll put all the links and everything. But more important, Janine, let them know about yourself. Let them know.
Okay, well, Heather, it's just amazing to be here today. So thank you so much. And I'm really excited to get to know your group and your population. And as Heather said, it really is all about what I call a brain trust, about putting a lot of people around you that you trust, people that come from different walks of life, and certainly those that have been entrepreneurs and have walked in your shoes and understand. And, I always say we're not born with it. We have to learn that. We have to learn it through our experiences and people that we meet. And so in my business life, I am Executive Vice President for Lloyd Staffing. We're a national staffing company, and we provide opportunities for jobs in healthcare, corporations, and all spectrums. And then I volunteer. I'm a certified mentor with an organization called SCORE. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but its population are entrepreneurs. So I get to work with people like you every day. And I also serve on a few boards. So I try to do what I can to give back. and happy to be here today.
Well, I'm super just grateful that you're here. And I know that after people watch this interview, they're going to be very excited and hopeful because, again, being in an industry, being a female entrepreneur, there's multiple levels of challenges, right? Like aside from just every day, most of us are wives, most of us are mothers, most of us are grandmothers. So we have a full plate in addition to running our business. And, you know, it would be, you know, asinine to think that they don't all affect each other, right? So like when you're having a tough day as a parent, you take that to work with you and it kind of trickles over. So, you know, one thing that I'm noticing within our industry is that in one fair swoop, the entertainment industry came to a screeching halt. And I know that it's not just us, but our industry heavily and only depends on public gatherings and events and parties. And that was the first thing to say, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So I'm witnessing the emotional pressure and stress falling on artists, because our industry is at a standstill. And now, you know, we're all kind of saying to ourselves, what do we do? Do we pivot? Do we give up? Do we go and apply for a job, a 9 to 5? And for many of us as entrepreneurs, that's a hard thing to do. So, you know, being that you're part of SCORE, what can you say in terms of, or what advice can you give to entrepreneurs to say, like, hang on before you jump ship, you know, just some words of encouragement before they do?
Sure. And, you know, just so that you know, every week I'm meeting with entrepreneurs from all different industries, and you're right, the creative world has been hit hard, but really virtually every category and industry, you know, regardless, everybody has suffered an effect. So the most important thing I want to say to everyone is you have the heart of your business inside of you. That I call, you know, that heartbeat, that pulse of what it is that you do that makes you special, that has differentiated you in the marketplace. That is where you need to focus and go back to your beginnings of why did you get into this industry? What do you love about this industry? And you need to take some time, you know, mind, body, spirit. I'm a firm believer in that, of, you know, start to put the worry in its compartment, start to be able to get to a place where you can creatively think for yourself versus being on autopilot. You know, this is the way I've always done it. And so I can't do it that way anymore, and I'm getting frustrated. Right. Number two, I would say that you have to share a little bit, you know, maybe avail yourself to people that you trust to talk about it, to talk it through, or come to an organization like SCORE, where most of the mentors are retired executives. I'm one of the few that is still in the workforce. However, they come from a wealth of experience. We have all been entrepreneurs. I had my own not-for-profit at one time. I also had an IT organization that I built from the ground up. You know, we have all walked the walk. So come to us, talk to us. The services are complimentary. It's part of the SBA, so there's never a charge. And everything that we talk about would be confidential. And then lastly, I would say is, you know, that passion that inspired you to begin your business, start to look at that business as what I call a driver. Think about, anticipate the future, because even if this situation didn't happen, Heather, we always have to be in a position to bring our businesses to the next level, whether that be expanding our business or even cutting those services back and concentrating in a particular area. So how can you take your creativity and, as you use the word, pivot it into other areas? It could be taking on maybe a temporary position in the creative world in a different way, keeping yourself in the workforce, keeping yourself out there while still maintaining your entrepreneurial work. That's okay as well. But the bottom line is doing nothing or worrying isn't going to advance you that next step. So don't look for the large leaps. You know, it's small steps and that are purposeful and intentional that will help get you to the next level.
It's funny that, well, not funny, but it just kind of is like deja vu for me, because I'll give you guys a little background. I was working on a project, or playing around with the idea of a project, and I brought it to Janine, and I was so hung up and like almost on a cliff of either saying I'm going to give up or I'm going to go forward, because I wasn't sure which way to go. And Janine said, Heather, instead of feeling the need to get 100% done right out of the gate, you can take things in steps, and the same thing is the same principles I like to just kind of convey to them is, if you need to pivot now and you say to yourself, I'm at a breaking point between either going to get a 9 to 5 or using the rest of this time that I have, or unemployment that I have, to take baby steps into the next thing, it's going to help you, right? Because so many of us get hung up on if it's all or nothing. And that all or nothing mentality for me can be very defeating. I know I probably would have wasted a ton of money and time if I would have just been focused on the all or nothing. But guys, make sure you listen to this advice, because it helped me and saved me time and money, and put me on a better path, right? Because nothing is worse than spending a whole bunch of time doing the wrong thing. So I absolutely am grateful for that advice. I have a couple of questions for you, and I wanted you to kind of elaborate on how people can find out about SCORE. Many of our viewers are international, but for the ones who are in the United States, SCORE is an amazing, like you said, complimentary resource provided by the SBA. So are they able to get assistance with, say, some of the PPP money or the loans? Like, it's very intimidating for someone who's always been like a one-person show to get this information. And sadly, if you Google a lot of it, there's so much, and it can kind of deter you, right? Like if you're scared of numbers or scared of loans. So is that like explain a little bit of the services that SCORE can provide.
Okay, so for the majority, there are certified mentors like myself. We have over 10,000 certified mentors throughout the United States, and there are about 350 chapters of SCORE. So my chapter is called SCORE of South Palm Beach. If you were to go on the internet and look for that, you'll find our website. But the SCORE national website has tremendous resources. There are articles, there are videos, there are webinars, there are resources for everything that you could think of. And nothing really precludes you from reaching out to them. You can go to your local chapter, you can go to SCORE National, so no matter where you live, you can tap into it. I would also say on the PPP, in my chapter, we have partnerships with a few financial institutions who, we are so grateful to them because they helped a lot of our mentees during this time period. And I believe they're going to be still doing that until August 8th, I think it is. So PPP loans are still available, and who knows if that'll be extended. But banks of all types, financial institutions, credit unions, these are all resources that you can go to. But you will need to have a business plan. And it doesn't necessarily have to be huge and comprehensive, but I have an outline that I could also share if you would like, that will help you to put to paper your vision for your company, what the financial forecast looks like, what it was, what you expect it to be, and then the resources, of course, that you need. So there's a lot of funding and different kinds of things available. SCORE doesn't give loans, however. We will guide you to go to different resources to try to pitch for that. And sometimes that's really not what people need. What they need is to sometimes just be better able to manage the business that they have under the current situation that they're in. So it really depends. Every person is unique, every business is unique, and where they wish to go. So SCORE is one of those things that, you can make that call today and set up an appointment to meet with a certified mentor. And now all of our mentoring is just like this on Zoom. So it's easy. Wow. It's so easy. And, we'll try to match you up with mentors that either have been in your business or a relatable business. But I will tell you that, when I first started mentoring, I said, well, you got to put a square peg in a square hole, right? So if I've been in IT, I'm going to meet with IT people and so on. I have met with every type of entrepreneur, and there is always something to share. So I really want to give your viewing audience hope and understand that it's just about taking that step. With every step you try, you open yourself up to the possibilities. And this quote that I have behind me about successful people, I really believe in that. It's really about successful habits. So I'm sure everyone who's watching has experienced levels of success at different times in their business, as well as challenges that they've overcome. And it's the habits that you form, the good, successful habits that make you even more successful, like getting up in the morning and maybe exercising and clearing your mind and watching a podcast, then, attacking your day and having priorities and addressing those priorities and so on. And so this time during this pandemic is no different. This is the time when entrepreneurs dig really deep, and the worst thing you can do is isolate. You need to get out there. You need to talk to people. And when your energy level comes up and your positivity, positive actions breed positive results. So, there is places like SCORE and many other maybe local organizations. And if you're international, there are entrepreneurial organizations all across the world that you can tap into virtually. Many, have gone from in-person meetings. They can't do that. Right. So all of that information, all that content, all that brain power is available to you. So don't just think in my own neighborhood, the internet allows us to explore globally.
And so tell us a little bit about your webinar, because I've already told Siri, she set a reminder for me because, it's the 29th, correct?
It is the 29th. It's the last Wednesday of the month. And I'm really excited about it. It's something I created, just from scratch. Basically, I decided that today calls for empathy. Today calls for a little bit of introspection. We have to be willing to change. We have to take what's good about our habits and our personalities and even our businesses. And we have to be willing to invest, affect a change, and then grow from that. And that's a constant. My dad used to always use the words, we have to take stock, constantly take stock of ourselves in order to improve. So the top 10 habits of successful people, what I did was I started to read and look at people in the industry and business that I respect, people like Dale Carnegie. Yes. And then people in the world like an Oprah Winfrey, what made her successful, what made Dale Carnegie successful, or Stephen Covey or Jack Welch, or, any of the people that you can think about. Whether you like them or not, it doesn't really matter. It's about the fact that they had a dream and they were successful. And so I started reading and looking into each of these people and decided that I would put together a webinar of what I felt was the top 10 habits of successful people. And so the webinar will explore what it takes to create a habit, what it takes to create a behavior behind that habit, how we can organize and become more productive to grow our business, kind of quiet down the noise, so that we can be creative and we can think and we can have the courage and faith, to take those steps. I talk a lot about wellness, our personal wellness, our mental wellness, and I give tools regarding our productivity and how we can advance our productivity, because we can have the best intentions in our habits every day, but things can distract us. Okay. So the webinar is going to be literally mind, body, spirit. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. I think people will come away learning a lot. There'll be a lot of high points that you can take away and can immediately start to implement and try. And, not everything will work for everyone, but if you come away with just one or two points that you can implement immediately, and I think I think the top 10 points are something that everyone can do. You're definitely going to see a change, because remember, successful people are simply those people that have successful habits. So it'll be a 1-hour webinar. I will speak for about 45 minutes or so, and then we'll have a lot of time for questions. There'll be a couple of exercises that people can do. And like I said, there'll be this productivity quotient that I'll give everyone a link to. And I will also give everyone a copy of the presentation so they can go over it at another time. And we just hope that you can join us.
And the best part, not the best part, because the knowledge is the best part, but one of the things that can hopefully help people not have a barrier to entry is that it's free, right?
Yes, it's complimentary. And the reason why it's free is that I Think Financial, which is one of SCORE's valued partners, underwrote the series. And so every month, with the exception of December, we host a webinar on the last Wednesday of every month, so that's easy to remember. And we talk about various business topics. Like last month was all about social media and how to use social media to promote your business on Instagram and Facebook and so on. And there was a lot to be learned there. Things like writing a business plan or creating financial forecasts, and then things like this. And what I'll do also is I'm going to talk a little bit about COVID-19 and other types of things that happen in our world that can derail us, and how we can take that and actually use it to our advantage.
I'm very excited about it because, as I stated earlier, my goal is to help encourage my customers, my friends. Many of them have become my friends. And when they're hurting, I feel it because I see sometimes that hopelessness or the frustration. But I also, one thing I can say is that I feel that we're in a day and age where it's like the best time ever to be an entrepreneur, not because of the economy, because as COVID has changed the way that we do business, but there's very limited barriers to entry. Like now people can host webinars, they can go live from their phone at any given hour, and truly utilize those tools in front of them to still find success. We're back
It's very true, Heather. I'm going to just add to that at SCORE, for example, you could take labs that are complimentary as well, that there's no charge. Sales labs, there's a women's roundtable that meets once a month where it's just female entrepreneurs literally gathering around talking about their businesses, their challenges, and feeding off of each other for ideas. And this is really what we talked about before, which is at the core of all of this. My primary belief is in mentorship. So, you don't know what you don't know. That's one of my favorite quotes of myself that I say a lot. And it really is true. You don't know what you don't know. You have to be willing to open and share. And the internet has been, has gained such momentum now for being able to sell, be visible, brand, gain adoption, gain credibility, gain trust, gain relationship. So much so that in the seminar we gave last month, nearly 90% of all buying decisions now are influenced by Facebook and Instagram, those two social media outlets. It's unbelievable. So Heather, can I say thank you to you, because what you're doing and this forum that you've created is just outstanding. And what you're providing to the people that are in your circle, and I know that you love and care about, is just priceless. And I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to speak to you today and to your audience, but thank you for everything that you do.
Well, I hope you're my goals in terms of one day the goal is to be able to mentor through SCORE and give back, help people, help them grow, help them realize that art is such a gift. Like what I'm finding now as we move into the digital age, art has been instrumental in helping people reach customers. Huge. Just from like the way that a pink translates to a woman demographic, right? So I keep on reminding our artists that art gives you like unlimited possibilities. when coupled with business information that you can give them, right? Because having too much art and no balance of saying that there needs to be business or a monetary value attached to it will lead you, in a bad place. But coupling both what we offer people, the encouragement of art, and also the business side, to me is going to help them get back to the place where they feel successful. And that's just my take
Absolutely,
on it.
absolutely.
And I'm grateful that you're willing to share this. I'm grateful for the webinar that, like I said, I will be there next week. And I mean, thank you for taking the time out of your day.
My pleasure.
To share some inspiration and some insight. Guys, make sure that you're following. Janine, do you want them to follow you on a specific page? Did you start a Facebook page for your podcast? I mean, how can people keep up with you? Because you're a woman who knows a lot. So
Well, I'm on LinkedIn if they want to attach to me there. But however, on the podcast, which is something I shared with Heather before we started speaking formally today, is something I'm working on right now, and I'm reading and educating myself. So you see, I'm doing it too. I'm learning that even though I'm in the talent industry for my financial piece of my life, that has been offset by almost 50%. So we have to find other ways to get the message out there, to make money, to still feel like we're contributing in that area. And so the podcast and what I'm going to do, I'm hoping will be successful. So you can stay tuned with me. And you just gave me the idea that I really need to do the social media, right?
Thank you again for joining me. I look forward to seeing you on the 29th. And thanks again. Have a beautiful afternoon.
You too. And I hope to meet with your population, and everyone's welcome to come to the webinar.
I'm excited. All right, Janine, have a great afternoon.